including one driver, has been killed in an IED blast in the Bijapur district in Chhattisgarh. Shirish continues to join us on the broadcast to get us more on the story. Shirish, what do you think the next steps will be? Is there any information on whether or not there were more people or more security personnel who were on the spot as the IED blast happened? In fact, the ex-chief minister's statement says that the government will not be deterred by such attacks. Tell us more about this, Shirish.
देखिए, जैसे डॉक्टर रमन सिंह जी जो 15 साल यहाँ के चीफ मिनिस्टर रहे, अभी विधानसभा अध्यक्ष हैं, ही इज नाउ स्पीकर ऑफ विधानसभा छत्तीसगढ़ असेंबली। ही वाज सेइंग कि जो हमारे पास अपडेट है, जो आपने बताया, उससे उन्होंने एक संख्या और बढ़ाई, करीब 10 लोगों के बारे में उन्होंने कहा कि 10 जवान शहीद हुए हैं। तो मुझे लगता है कि ये जो प्रारंभिक जानकारी है ये आगे बढ़ भी सकती है। अब ये डिपेंड करेगा कि उस जो व्हीकल थी, जो उसमें कितने जवान थे, ये नॉर्मल व्हीकल थी कि माइंड प्रोटेक्टेड व्हीकल थी, अभी ये बहुत क्लैरिटी नहीं आई है, क्योंकि वहां पर लगातार नक्सली इलाकों में अलग अलग ऑपरेशंस चलते रहते हैं और एसपी अभी इस स्थिति में नहीं होंगे, सुप्रिंटेंडेंट ऑफ पुलिस की, वो इतना डिटेल बता सकेंगे। जब तक पार्टियां बाहर नहीं आएंगी तब तक इस बारे में कोई डिस्क्लोज नहीं हो सकता कि एक्चुअल जो नुकसान हुआ है जो वो कितना है, कितने जवान शहीद हुए हैं, अभी एकदम कहना मुश्किल है, क्योंकि घटना ही 2:15 बजे की है, करीब 1.25 घंटे पहले की घटना है, 1.5 घंटे पहले की घटना है। तो जब तक जवान जो रीइंफोर्समेंट के लिए पार्टी गई है, क्योंकि वहां जाना अभी एक खतरे से खाली नहीं होता, नक्सलियों को ट्रैप भी होता है। जब इस तरह का जवान शहीद होते हैं तो नक्सली आसपास के इलाकों में मौजूद होते हैं, ताकि जो फोर्स आए उसको ट्रैप में फंसा के और फर्दर नुकसान किया जा सके। तो फोर्सेज जब वहां जाती हैं तो बहुत एहतियात के साथ जाती हैं, लेकिन आज के दौर में जब टेक्नोलॉजी बहुत आगे हो चुकी है।
शिरीष मिश्रा जी हमारे साथ बने रहिए। द विजुअल्स ऑन आवर स्क्रीन्स इज फ्रॉम दैट वेरी लोकेशन। दिस इज सेड टू बी द अम्बेली विलेज ऑन कुथरू बेदरे रोड इन बीजापुर वेयर IED blast was carried out. Army vehicle that was the convoy that was targeted by the Maoists. शिरीष मिश्रा continues to be with us. मिश्रा जी थोड़ा हमें बताइए इस एरिया के डेमोग्राफी के बारे में। कहा जा रहा है कि ये बीजापुर के अम्बेली विलेज जो एरिया है वहाँ पे अटैक हुआ था, उस एरिया के बारे में बताइए, वो कितना सेंसिटिव एरिया है और वहाँ पे माओइस्ट की प्रेजेंस कैसी है?
देखिए, अभी तक जो छत्तीसगढ़ के बस्तर के जो 7 जिले हैं उसमें से कुछ जिलों में नक्सलवाद बहुत कम हो चुका है। जैसे कांकेर में नक्सलवाद कम है, कोंडागांव में स्थिति नक्सलवाद की कंट्रोल में है, बस्तर जिले में कंट्रोल में है, लेकिन कुछ जो बीजापुर का कुछ हिस्सा और नारायणपुर का कुछ हिस्सा है वो अभी भी नक्सलियों के कंट्रोल में तो नहीं बोलूंगा, लेकिन अभी भी नक्सलियों के प्रभाव में, जहां पर वो किसी भी घटना को अंजाम दे सकते, पर पहले जैसी उनकी प्रेजेंस, पहले जैसा उनकी जो पकड़ थी वो नहीं है। और बीजापुर नक्सलियों का बहुत हार्टलैंड है, जहां पर वो नक्सली बीजापुर और नारायणपुर में काम करते हैं। खासतौर पर जैसे एक वहां पर लोकेशन है जगरगुंडा, जहां पर 30 साल बाद पुलिस ने सड़क को खोला है और लगातार कैंप नक्सलियों के जो हार्डकोर एरिया है वहां तक पुलिस अब धीरे धीरे बढ़ती जा रही है। लेकिन पुलिस जब भी बढ़ती है आगे, या सेंट्रल पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस बढ़ती हैं और जब भी कंबाइंड ऑपरेशंस होते हैं तो नक्सलियों की तरफ से रिटेलिएट किया जाता है, ये बताने के लिए कि ये जो एरिया है वो हमारे होल्ड का एरिया है, ये हमारे डोमिनेशन का एरिया है। और जब फोर्सेस एरिया डोमिनेशन करके लौटती हैं तो ऐसा देखा गया है, नॉर्मली ये पाया गया है कि फोर्सेस थोड़ी लापरवाह हो जाती हैं, या वो थक चुके होते हैं जवान या उनके साथ के लोगों को लगातार 48 घंटे 72 घंटे, मतलब 3 दिन 4 दिन उनको जंगली इलाके में रहना पड़ता है, जिसके जहाँ का टेरेन ऐसा है कि वहां पर बड़े बड़े पहाड़ हैं और बहुत घनघोर जंगल है, विजिबिलिटी उतनी ज्यादा नहीं है, शाम को अंधेरा जल्दी हो जाता है। तो पुलिस के लिए बहुत तरह की दिक्कतें हैं, खाने पीने से लेके मूवमेंट की दिक्कतें। और जब सड़कें बनती हैं नक्सली इलाके में तो नक्सली उस दौरान अपने IED को वहां पर लगा के रख चुके होते हैं। और हालांकि सेंट्रल पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस ने बहुत हद तक डिमाइनिंग किया हुआ है, बहुत इसमें ITBP और BSF वगैरह ने डिमाइनिंग में बहुत ज्यादा राजनांदगांव
fresh visuals that we're getting from the Bijapur district in Chhattisgarh, where an IED blast took the lives of at least 8 security personnel who were in action. One driver, along with the 8 security personnel, has also been killed by the IED blasts by Maoists. These are the live visuals. We're constantly being joined by a journalist from Chhattisgarh, Shirish Mishra. Shirish, आप ये भी बताइए मुझे, आज सुबह रिपोर्ट्स हैं कि सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस ने माओइस्ट्स के ठिकानों पे अटैक्स किए थे जहां 5 रिबेल मारे गए थे। उसके बाद ये रिटेलिएटरी अटैक किया गया है सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस पे, जहां एक स्कॉर्पियो एसयूवी पे आईडी ब्लास्ट हुआ और 8 सिक्योरिटी पर्सनल मारे गए हैं, उनके तहत एक ड्राइवर भी। इस अटैक के बारे में और इस रिटेलिएटरी अटैक्स जो माओइस्ट्स कैरी आउट करते हैं, इसके बारे में कुछ बताइए शिरीष।
देखिए, माओइस्ट की हमेशा ये कोशिश होती है कि वो फोर्सेस को ये संदेश देने की कोशिश करें कि आप जिस एरिया में एंटर कर रहे हैं वो हमारे डोमिनेशन का एरिया, वो हमारे पकड़ का एरिया है, और यदि आपने यहाँ पर आके हमारा नुकसान किया तो हम भी आपका नुकसान करेंगे। लेकिन इतनी जल्दी इतना बड़ा नुकसान होगा इसकी आशंका नहीं थी, क्योंकि छत्तीसगढ़ में बहुत समय बाद इतना बड़ी कैजुअलिटी सामने आई। इसके पहले 1-2 साल पहले इस तरह की घटनाएं सामने आती थी, लेकिन अभी हाल फिलहाल में इतनी बड़ी घटना जिसमें 8 जवान शहीद हुए हैं विष्णुदेव सरकार आने के बाद पहली बार ऐसा देखा गया है। क्योंकि ऐसा माना जा रहा था लगातार कि नक्सलियों के जो बड़े कैडर हैं वो खत्म होते जा रहे हैं और नया रिक्रूटमेंट उनको नहीं हो रहा है, और साथ में जो उनकी फंडिंग जहां से हो रही थी सरकार ने उस लाइन को भी बहुत हद तक डैमेज किया है, और साथ में जहां जहां से लोग उनको मदद कर रहे थे वहां भी सरकार ने कंट्रोल किया है। लेकिन इस घटना ने फिर साबित किया कि नक्सलियों ने अपनी ताकत को रिगेन किया है। जो बीच में वो शांत दिखाई दे रहे थे, जहाँ कोई एक्टिविटी नहीं दिखाई दे रही, इस घटना ने साबित किया है कि वो लगातार जिन इलाकों में जहां पर उनका थोड़ा बहुत वर्चस्व बचा हुआ है, जहां उनका थोड़ा बहुत प्रभाव है, वहां पर वो फोर्सेस को नुकसान करने की स्थिति में है।
जी मिश्रा जी, हमें थोड़ा इस बारे में बताइए कि इस एरिया जो कि कहा जाता है कि बहुत एक सेंसिटिव एरिया है, अम्बेली विलेज बीजापुर में, वहाँ पे कितने माओइस्ट रहने की आशंका है एक, और कितने पर्सनल अगर आप कंफर्म कर सकते हैं उस कॉन्वॉय में ट्रैवल कर रहे थे जब आईडी ब्लास्ट हुआ।
जैसा कि मैंने आपको पहले ही बताया कि अभी ये मालूम करना मुश्किल है कि जो कन्वॉय था उसमें एक व्हीकल में ये लोग थे कि कई व्हीकल में थे, या एमपीवी में थे कि नॉर्मल व्हीकल में थे, ये अभी बताना मुश्किल है। और जैसा कि आपने पूछा सवाल कि उस एरिया में कितने नक्सली, तो ये एक मोटे तौर पे बताना मुश्किल है, क्योंकि नक्सली मूवमेंट में रहते हैं। ये जरूर रहता है कि उनका बेस रहता है जहाँ उनके प्राइमरी मेंबर्स होते हैं, जो कभी गांव वालों की शक्ल में होते हैं, कभी उनके फ्रंटल ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के रूप में होते हैं।
Alright, we have more statements coming in from the government on this ID blast in Bijapur that targeted army personnel vehicle.
जिस मजबूती से काम किया है, लगातार काम किया है, और बीजापुर की आज की जो घटना की जानकारी मिली है, ये नक्सलियों का कायराना हरकत है। ये हताशा में किया गया हुआ कार्रवाई है। ये कायराना हरकत कि मैं निंदा करता हूं, सभी जो जवान शहीद हुए हैं उनको अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं, पर हमारी सरकार की प्रतिबद्धता है कि इनकी शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी, और जिस लक्ष्य को लेकर हम निकले हैं मार्च 2026 तक नक्सल मुक्त करने का, वो पूरा करेंगे।
So
That was the statement from the Deputy Chief Minister Arun Sao, who has expressed his condolence to the soldiers who were killed in action, the DRG soldiers, and has also condemned the cowardly attack by the Maoists. Listen into more reactions pouring in on the story.
कायराना हरकत है, जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में, निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी, और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़ बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त होगा।
कल एक बड़ी सफलता मिली थी सर, 5 नक्सली मारे गए थे और एक बड़ी आज क्षति हुई है।
जैसे मैंने कहा कि ये एक नक्सलियों का कायराना हरकत है, जवानों की शहादत बिल्कुल जाया नहीं जाएगी, और सुरक्षा बल के जवान उसी मजबूती से बस्तर को नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में आगे बढ़ेंगे।
All right, so these are the details that we are picking up. The Maoists who blew up the vehicle carrying the army personnel, 9 have been martyred in the Bijapur IED blast. Shirish Mishra, beg your pardon, journalist from Chhattisgarh continues to be with us. मिश्रा जी, अगर आप हमें थोड़ा बता सकते हैं वो एंटी माओइस्ट ऑपरेशन के बारे में, जो पूरा करने के बाद सिक्योरिटी पर्सनल वापस आ रहे थे, थोड़ा और हमें डिटेल्स दीजिए वो एंटी माओइस्ट ऑपरेशन के बारे में बीजापुर में।
ऐसा कहा जा रहा है कि जो कल नक्सली घटना हुई थी उसमें भी इस पार्टी के कुछ जवान शामिल थे, लेकिन अभी ये कंफर्म नहीं है कि ये वही जवान थे जिन्होंने कल जो नक्सलियों को नुकसान हुआ है उसमें शामिल थे। लेकिन जो एक प्रारंभिक जानकारी आ रही है उसके अनुसार जो व्हीकल जिसमें ये जवान थे उसमें करीब 20 जवान थे। इसका मतलब कि जो डेथ टोल है वो और आगे बढ़ सकता है।
जी मिश्रा जी, तो आप कह रहे हैं कि ये अभी पुष्टि नहीं हो पाई है कि जो सिक्योरिटी पर्सनल जो मार्टर हुए हैं वही इस एंटी माओइस्ट ऑपरेशन में इन्वॉल्व थे, पर आप कुछ सूत्रों से पता लग पा रहे हैं उन सिक्योरिटी पर्सनल के बारे में जो इंजर हुए हैं इस आईडी ब्लास्ट में?
देखिए, जैसा कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया, जब ऐसी कोई घटना होती तो जवानों को सुरक्षित निकाल के लाना वो एक पुलिस के लिए, सेंट्रल पैरामिलिट्री फोर्सेस के लिए या जो जॉइंट ऑपरेशन में फोर्सेस होती है उनके लिए एक बड़ा टास्क होता है। उनको पहले अपनी इंटेलिजेंस से ये पता करना होता है कि उस एरिया में अभी नक्सली हैं कितने, अभी जहां पर ये घटना हुई है। या दूसरी चीज उनको ये कंफर्म करना होता है कि और कोई इस तरह के और उन्होंने आसपास आईडी बिछा के तो नहीं रखा है। तो जब तक वो चीजें कंफर्म नहीं होंगी उनको अपने सोर्सेज तब तक फोर्स वहां तक पेनिट्रेट नहीं कर पाती। हालांकि आज की दौर में पहले पहले इस तरह के विमानों का उपयोग किया जाता था जिनको रायपुर से ऑपरेट किया जाता था, जहां से इनपुट किया जाता। आज के समय वहां पर ड्रोन का उपयोग करके फोर्सेस का ऑपरेशन को सफल कर रही है, लेकिन बावजूद इसके नक्सली उनसे आगे का सोच लेते हैं। और ऐसी स्थिति में मुझे लगता है कि टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ भी नक्सली भी अपडेट हो रहे हैं, इसलिए फोर्सेस को ये नुकसान उठाना पड़ रहा है।
Right, Shirish, thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast. We will closely keep tracking the tragic story where at least 9 DRG Jawans have been killed in action over an IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. Viewers, it's time to move on to a short break, and after the break we will continue tracking the story from Bijapur district where at least 9 Jawans have been martyred, killed in action over an IED blast. Stay tuned to Republic TV. We will come back right after a short break. Naxalites blew up a vehicle carrying security personnel with an improvised explosive device in Chhattisgarh. At least 8 security personnel, including one driver, have been killed in action in the Bijapur district over the IED blast. My colleague Rhythm Anand Bhardwaj will continue tracking the story for you on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Welcome, thank you for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with Note Assist that's using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. Jawans martyred as Maoists target their vehicle. CAG's findings on Kejriwal Chief Minister's residence reports 96 lakh rupees on curtains, 67 lakhs used on marbles. 3 cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru and Ahmedabad, no international travel history. And India condemns Pakistani airstrikes in Afghanistan, says it's an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures. That was the news summarized with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start our big story of the day. Viewers, 8 Jawans and 1 driver were killed after Maoists blew up their vehicle using an IED explosive in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur. According to the preliminary information, the blast occurred on the Bere-Kutru road in Bijapur district when soldiers were returning from an operation. Let's also go across with reactions and political ones at that coming in.
बीजापुर से ये एक नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत की जानकारी आई है। सभी नौजवानों के प्रति मैं अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। ये नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत है। जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़ बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त होगा।
ये नक्सल जब इनके खिलाफ बड़े ऑपरेशन चलते हैं, वो कायराना हरकत पे उतारू आते हैं और ब्लास्ट करके जवानों को करीब जो अभी तक की जानकारी आ रही है कि हमारे 10 जवान शहीद हुए हैं, वो निश्चित रूप से इस पूरे घटना में हम अपनी दुख व्यक्त करते हैं। उनके परिवार को इस तकलीफ को सहने की इच्छा शक्ति दे भगवान। और नक्सलवाद के खिलाफ जो गंभीर कदम सरकार उठा रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार, गृह मंत्री विजय जी और केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और दोनों सरकारें, तो इस कदम को और आगे बढ़ाएंगे। इससे इस घटना कायरतापूर्ण घटना से सरकार डरने वाली या झुकने वाली नहीं है। कठोरता से इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई जारी रहेगी।
And let me go across to my colleague Shavan Sen, who's joining us now from our newsroom. Shavan, this is once again the Naxals are targeting our brave hearts who've been martyred. Give us more details.
Well, in fact, we are being told that they were returning from an anti-Maoist operation that was being carried out in the area. In fact, they are part of the state unit called the DRG. This is the District Reserve Guards who were present in the Scorpio vehicle that was attacked by the Maoists. In fact, it turns out that this happens to be the second biggest attack that has taken place in the last 2 years in that very area that we're talking about. Remember, over the last few days, particularly after the government came to power, we've seen the kind of arrangements have essentially been done to carry out these anti-Maoist operations. In fact, this unit that was returning from one such operation was targeted by the Maoists. You've already had reactions coming in from various individuals from the government indicating that strong action would be taken, but at the same time not to forget that part of the operations that have been largely carried out by the security forces, which includes the state police as well as the central agencies, are largely to look at bringing back Maoists to the mainstream, and that's been the effort that has been carried out. But having said that, remember, Bijapur district in the last 2 years itself has seen 2 big attacks that have taken place.
They've triggered a powerful blast, Shavan, like you're telling us, that is targeting the police vehicle that was at Kutru. This is in strife to in Bijapur, like you were also telling us. We've seen the details, but how is it going to be possible, like the political parties, both of them claiming that they're going to be ending Naxalism, there going to be some relief in the next few years? Is there any action plan that's actually put into place?
Well, in fact, Rhythm, before I answer that question, I'm told that there's some latest visuals coming in from the very spot. These are the latest images of the convoy that was returning when the convoy was attacked. I'm told that the IG is also speaking on this entire issue. Let's listen in.
रिकवर की गए थे और एक जवान का हमारा शहादत भी हो गए थे। तत्पश्चात जो पूरा सर्चिंग के बाद टीम वापस आ रहे थे, उस दौरान जिला बीजापुर की थाना बेदरे कुट्र के बीच अम्बेली के इलाके में माओवादी द्वारा लाया गया आईडी के चपटमाने से हमारा सुरक्षा बल की एक गाड़ी जिसमें टोटल 8 जवानों को शहादत होगी डीआईजी दंतेवाड़ा टीम का और एक ड्राइवर, कुल 9 लोग के इस घटना में कैजुअल्टी होगी। अभी आसपास इलाके में रीइंफोर्समेंट टीम द्वारा सहायता के लिए पहुंच गई थी। अभी सर्चिंग जारी है। सर्चिंग उपरांत और डिटेल से जानकारी प्राप्त हो सकता है।
जो ड्राइवर है वो सामान्य है, वो पुलिस का आदमी नहीं है।
अभी डिटेल्स हम थोड़ी देर में जारी करेगा। अभी तक 9 कैजुअल्टी का है इसमें। जी
Viewers, this is the story that we were doing of 9 people, including 8 Dantewada District Reserve Guard Jawans and 1 driver, lost their lives after the vehicle had been targeted by a powerful IED blast carried out by Naxals in Chhattisgarh, Bijapur. Shavan continues to be with us. Shavan, this is the biggest strike on security personnel by Naxalites, like you were telling us, in the last 2 years. In 2023, we remember a similar incident when 10 police personnel and a civilian driver were killed. The death toll in this gunfight between Naxalites and security forces in Chhattisgarh's region has risen. I'm just going to go across to Shavan, but let me first go across to Brigadier B.K. Ponwar, anti-Maoist operations expert, joining us on the phone line. Brigadier B.K. Ponwar, how are you looking at the biggest attack, Naxalite attack in the last 2 years that has left 9 people, brave hearts, dead?
Well, all I can say is that it was a very sad incident that the Naxalites caught our Jawans on the return journey. Probably the guard was down and they have managed an ID activation. Preparation takes about 2-3 people, but activation can be done by one man. He's sitting about 50 yards away from the road with a battery and a wire. And as he sees the vehicles returning from an operation, all he has to do is join the wire to the battery and the current is executed and the blast goes off. The command ID. And probably, I presume that the road clearance and ROP was not done for reasons best known to them. But it is a sad incident. The Jawans are doing so well. And I would say the continuation of this operation of establishing new posts all over the Abu Jmad area must go with great vigor. Time has come to completely fishnet, a big fisherman's fishnet, like they have knots at every 10 to 5 inches. It should be knots, posts at every 10 to 12 kilometers. And this fishnet should be spread all over Abu Jmad, which is being done. But we may have to speed it up, because if we have to sort the situation out by 31st March 2026, we've got to speed up the thing, and there's enough force available in Chhattisgarh, and continuous coordinate search operations, night and day, clear the whole area of all these hoodlums who think that they're going to put a red flag here and there. The time has come for them, for a mass psychological warfare on them, that listen, death awaits you in your further indulgence in Naxalism. Death awaits you in your further participation in Naxalism. That has to get into their minds, and it has got into so many of them that they have surrendered and their commanders have run away, the leader has run away to the Philippines, and this kind of coordinated search operation we have got to carry on. We should not forget our basic rules of ROPs, clearance of areas, dominating areas, establishing posts on higher heights when a convoy is going back. So we carry on. This is part of warfare. We have ding-dong, the battle goes on. It's only about nine brave hearts have lost their lives. We have had situations when I was there, 50 killed, 56 killed, 25 killed. All mine-protecting vehicles were blown up. They had 31 odd killed. So it is a warlike situation. And especially in the last flicker, this is the last flicker of the Naxalites. They will strike us. They will strike the guerrilla. The guerrilla will strike at the weakest point of the security forces. The moment they find that there is some weak point available, they will strike like they have done now.
truly what you're saying, Brigadier Ponwar, makes sense, that we have to fight them out and we have to ensure that there's fear that's instilled into their minds. The political parties have spoken up and said soon Naxalism will no longer be in the state. I want to get a sense from you about how this can be achieved.
I have just mentioned that all the blank areas, by blank areas I mean where the rest of government of India does not rule in some places, in Abu Jumar area, in this Sukma and places bordering Maharashtra and Chhattisgarh and Maharashtra and Jharkhand and these places. So the security forces must get themselves dotted with posts. More posts should come within mutual support distance. Mutual support distance is just about 8 to 10 kilometers. If something happens, security forces should be able to move QRTs or larger forces from 3 or 4 directions to the place of the incident. First and foremost, also, we have to make sure by our various means of neutralizing the IED before it blasts. Because when it blasts, this is what happens. Had we spotted the IED, had we spotted the wire going from the left and right of the road, had we spotted activity of the Naxalites in that road access from where we have to return, the fellow would have been found out and IED would not have blasted. However, they got away with it. The Naxalites are now, like I said, in a flicker, they want to do a major damage against the security forces, because the security forces and all the Chhattisgarh police are doing a wonderful job of bringing an end to this kind of a smogel which has taken place in the state right from 2000 onwards. So this is it. Carry on. This is a war going on, a counter-insurgency campaign. It's a complete campaign. I was there for 18 years. The situation was very, very bad. Now the situation is moving towards a resolution, and that resolution will have these last kind of tidbits taking place. So we have to be careful. Not only careful, we have to be alert and be proactive in our operation and be on the move most of the time.
All right. Thank you, sir, for giving us those details. Fingers crossed that's exactly what happens in this war, like you mentioned, with Maoists. And some national news in brief now. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held talks with U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan today, broadly reviewing the trajectory of India-U.S. global strategic partnership in the last 4 years under the Biden administration. Sullivan is on a visit to India 2 weeks ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration as the 47th President of the United States. One of the most significant measures initiated to expand the bilateral ties was the U.S.-India initiative on critical and emerging technology. The Madhya Pradesh High Court today granted 6 weeks to the state government to act on the Union Carbide factory waste disposal as per the safety guidelines. It also directed the media not to give incorrect news on the issue of the waste disposal. The waste packed in 12 sealed containers was shifted from Bhopal to the disposal site at Pithampur in Dhar district on 2nd of Jan. The High Court's division bench has granted time to the state government after AG there sought time to take to the public of Pithampur into confidence and dispel fears from their mind. There is high drama that unfolded at the Telangana Anti-Corruption Bureau office today after BRS working president KT Rama Rao was summoned in connection with the ongoing investigation into the Formula E race case. Was denied the company of his lawyer, prompting him to submit his statement outside the office. Rama Rao reached the ACB headquarters shortly after 10 a.m. and was barred from entering the premises by the police, who objected to the presence of his lawyer.
The FIR that has been lodged against me by the Anti-Corruption Bureau is frivolous, is an abuse of process of law, and is a travesty of justice. And extensive arguments have been made by both sides, both ACB and my side also, on 31st of December. Now the judgment is reserved. I do not know why the ACB had to call me within a week when the matter is very much pending with the Honorable High Court.
In a tragic incident, Suraj Chandrasekhar, the prime accused in the murder of journalist in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district, has been arrested from Hyderabad by a SIT team today. The accused, a contractor by profession, was absconding since the murder of journalist Mukesh Chandrakar came to light on 3rd of Jan. The SIT constituted to conduct the probe into the murder case rounded up Suresh from Hyderabad late Sunday night. In a tragic incident, 2 women pilgrims on their way to the temple in Tirupati district lost their lives after a 108 ambulance lost control and ran over them. The accident also injured 3 other pilgrims who are hospitalized. The cause of the accident is yet to be ascertained. And a multi-story building which has been declared unsafe collapsed in Sector 17 today. After the collapse around 7:15 am, the area was cordoned off by the police and a fire tender was pressed into service. The building was earlier declared unsafe by authorities.
पहले हमें सूचना मिली थी 27 तारीख को, तो ये रेंट आउट किया हुआ था, तो इसमें रिनोवेशन का काम चल रहा था। तो उस दिन के इसके 3 पिलर डैमेज हो गए थे, तो उस दिन के बाद ये हमने खाली करा के ना कॉर्डन ऑफ कर दी गई थी। तो आज सुबह 7:15 बजे ये बिल्डिंग कोलैप्स कर गई है।
And scores of AIADMK students wing members were detained by the police today when they attempted to stage protest in front of the Anna University demanding justice for a student who's been sexually assaulted on the university campus in December. The protesters made a bid to distribute black bands to students and public as a part of the support to the affected students and garnered attention. Police detained all of them as they were denied permission to hold the protest. And there's breaking news, viewers, coming in. The HMPV virus detected in Kolkata now. This is the 4th case of HMPV reported from Kolkata. This time it's a 5-month-old infant who arrived from Mumbai has tested positive. The child was brought to the doctor with symptoms of fever, loose stools and vomiting. Following a viral PCR test, the diagnosis confirmed HMPV due to breathing difficulties. The child has now been placed on respiratory support. Let me go across to Mayuk, my colleague joining us from our Bangla newsroom. Mayuk, give us more details. It seems the 4th case of HMPV has now been found in Kolkata. Any precautions that are in place? What is it that the doctors are saying, and what is it the state government is doing to ensure that it doesn't spread?
Well, first of all, let me tell you, this 5-month-old infant, this infant came from Mumbai with her parents, and right now she is under observation of the doctors. Fever clinics across the state of West Bengal has been reactivated. These fever clinics were specifically built during the COVID times. Right now, these fever clinics have been reactivated, and what we are getting in from our sources, the state government has called all the major medical colleges and virology units of West Bengal, specifically MR Bangur Hospital, IED, Belagata IED Hospital, and other immuno vaccination centers in West Bengal to immediately get together in the health department headquarters in Kolkata and do a concise reportage on what is the status right now of the beds, what are the status of the fever clinics in West Bengal. So basically right now what we are getting in, after the first case of HMPV virus in Kolkata, the whole medical unit in West Bengal, the government facilities have been reactivated after COVID situation to combat any such incident which might occur, any such situation which might arise. However, categorically, all the top child specialists in West Bengal and the health department authorities have categorically said that it has nothing to do with panic. No one should panic. This is a common respiratory virus which is found in India also. We have to speak to the central government as well as the central virus detection units in India to ascertain whether this is the same Chinese strain that has been found in Kolkata or in other parts of India.
In fact, several times we have seen, Mayuk, that this is found in now 2 states. We're keeping our fingers crossed that there is no spread in the influenza-like illness. Thank you for being with us. Viewers, coming up after a short break, we get you more details. CAG's findings on Kejriwal's Chief Minister's residence reports 96 lakh rupees on curtains, 67 lakhs that are used on marbles. Much more after a short break. Stay on with us.
Virat Kohli's intensity and drive for perfection have been the defining traits of his career, and even though he's winding down his time in the sport, it still plays a key role in his demeanor. Kohli's ability to score plenty of runs at will has seen him scale heights few can scarcely believe, but his willingness to engage in verbal battles have also held him in good stead. Things were no different in the 2024-25 Border-Gavaskar trophy, even though it really took Kohli a while to get going. Indifferent form may have played a part in that too. He started the series with 100 at Perth, which led many to believe that he had rediscovered the form that had so badly deserted him in red ball cricket. But it was a false dawn. Twin failures in Adelaide and Brisbane brought more scrutiny over Kohli's meagre returns with the bat, but while he could not rediscover his form in the ground, he did rediscover the anger and intensity that many associate with him. It started in the Melbourne Test, where he decided to take on a bunch of fans who were heckling him after he was dismissed. The visuals went viral, but Kohli's aggressive showings weren't done. In that same Test match, he took on Australian debutant Sam Constas and even barged into the youngster during the game, which Constas did his best to downplay afterwards. I think the emotions got to the both of us. I didn't quite realize I was doing my glove, then a little shoulder charge, but it happens in cricket. Whatever happens on the field,
I will voice record on Note Assist and we can transcribe that and you can use that as the intro to my show.
Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra powered by Galaxy AI bring you the latest news in super efficient and a summarized format from across the country only on Republic TV.
At least 8 Jawans have been killed in action in the Bijapur district in Chhattisgarh over an IED blast that struck their vehicle en route. We're tracking this and a lot more for you, but first a quick check at the headlines. Nine Jawans and one driver were killed after Maoists blew up their vehicle using an IED explosive in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. Tamil Nadu governor walks out of assembly, says national anthem insulted. CAG's findings on Kejriwal's chief ministerial residence reports 96 lakh rupees on curtains and 67 lakh rupees used on marbles. Three cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. No international travel history reported. Facing leadership challenge, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau might resign as the Prime Minister. India condemns Pakistani airstrike in Afghanistan. Ministry of External Affairs in a statement has said, and I'm quoting it, "It is an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures." Viewers, in a breaking news, a National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met with US's outgoing National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan in New Delhi today with discussions on enhancing bilateral, regional security and global cooperations. This comes after the outgoing US NSA Jake Sullivan also came to India for his last round of talks earlier today, in the morning, in fact. And now the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who he had originally come to meet US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, has met Doval in New Delhi. The discussions range on enhancing the bilateral relations between India and the US. Regional and security and global cooperation are also at top of the agenda of what can be seen as the last talks of the outgoing US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan with India's Ajit Doval. Now also, it has been reported that all the conversations between India and the US and all the bilaterals which are left hanging and are ongoing will be concluded during the key meeting happening in the national capital today. Earlier today, the visuals that you can see on the right side of your screen, earlier today, the outgoing US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan met with External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, also being joined by our senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor to get us more on the story. Abhishek, now that the outgoing US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has met Ajit Doval for the last time, what can be expected out of this meeting? Tell us more about this. Abhishek.
Well, you see, there are some big announcements that Jake Sullivan has made. The biggest one of which is that the United States is removing all impediments on operationalization of the India-US civil nuclear deal, which was signed back in 2008, but somehow it never became operational in terms of action on the ground, in terms of its benefits of industrial cooperation and nuclear energy supplies on the ground. And Jake Sullivan there speaking at the IIT Delhi made that big announcement where he said that the US is finalizing regulation that prevented finalizing removal of the regulation which prevented civil nuclear cooperation. Those regulations would go, and that formal paperwork is being put in place in its final stages. That was a significant announcement insofar as the India-US partnership is concerned that Jake Sullivan made. Apart from that, of course, in that address, he mentioned how China was weaponizing interdependencies and that it was time to shift away from China so that it could not indulge in activities like cyber espionage and sabotage of supply chains, or using its grip over supply chains to sabotage international supplies or disrupt them. And that's another big announcement or a statement made by the outgoing U.S. National Security Advisor. I think by way of optics and then diplomacy, optics are very important. United States has made an important point insofar as their priorities are concerned by making New Delhi the last foreign visit and pit stop for Jake Sullivan, the U.S. NSA, just ahead of the taking over of the U.S. government by the incoming Trump administration. So I think he has met the External Affairs Minister earlier. He has met the National Security Advisor, where they had a structured dialogue on the initiative on critical and emerging technologies. In fact, in the context of that, Jake Sullivan mentioned how increasingly you would see India taking the place of key supplier of cutting-edge technology, not just between India and US, but to the rest of the world. Also, an example of which he gave was that in the next few years, 1/4 of all the iPhones made in the world would be made in India. But that's just one of the examples. The tremendous amount of cooperation that's happening in quantum computing, in artificial intelligence, in semiconductor production. I think a very important statement there being made by Jake Sullivan and the outgoing Biden administration by making New Delhi his last visit of the administration.
Right. Right. You're right, Abhishek. And we're also getting in a statement from the outgoing U.S. National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, who has spoken on the India-U.S. bilateral relations. Listen in.
First, we started by transforming our bilateral technology partnership. When President Biden came to office, he knew that Make in India and Made in America are not incompatible concepts. In fact, they are complementary. And that's why in 2022, as you've heard, our administration launched the Initiative on Critical and Emerging Technologies with India, ICET. Now, as Ambassador Garcetti laid out, this is not just something that springs into existence by osmosis or by some, magical abstract creation. It's through people. And people in senior positions in government, and people throughout the government, and then throughout the scientific community, the private sector, and beyond. But one person in particular that I would like to recognize is my counterpart, the Indian National Security Advisor, Ajit Doval, because it was in part his vision that technology, and particularly advanced technologies of the future, would be a propellant for the U.S.-India relationship in a way that could take our two countries forward, advance our respective interests, protect our respective values, and build a better world for everybody.
Right. Shifting focus to Tamil Nadu, where the Chief Minister M.K. Stalin has hit back at Governor R.N. Ravi. M.K. Stalin has said, and I'm quoting him here, the governor's actions in continuously insulting the people of Tamil Nadu, the government elected by them, and the century-old Tamil Nadu Legislative Assembly are unbecoming of the position that he holds. That's Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin for you. The visuals that you can see on your screens are from today morning when the Governor R.N. Ravi walked out of the Tamil Nadu Assembly in protest. He also said that walkout was over the alleged insult of the national anthem because it was not played in the Tamil Nadu Assembly despite R.N. Ravi's, the governor's, alleged requests to play the national anthem. Now remember, the DMK hit back at that statement earlier today when they said that The national anthem was not supposed to be played before the address. In fact, as per tradition, it is only played after the address. And now, in the latest, Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin, who you can see on your screens in the assembly from earlier today when R.N. Ravi was walking out of the assembly, M.K. Stalin has hit back at Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi. Now, Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi walked out of the Legislative Assembly today as the Chief Minister and the Speaker snubbed to play the national anthem after the Tamil Thai Valit, and later issued a statement accusing the Chief Minister of disrespecting the national anthem. That was Governor R.N. Ravi's statement. Take a look at this report to know all the details of what unfolded earlier today in the morning in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Take a look.
A political firestorm erupted in Tamil Nadu's Legislative Assembly today. Governor R.N. Ravi boycotted his annual address ahead of the winter session and left the house. Raj Bhavan, in an official statement, cited that the Chief Minister and the Assembly Speaker cussedly snubbed Governor's request to play the national anthem. After the Governor walked out, Assembly Speaker delivered the address that was to be read by the Governor. Meanwhile, the State Congress Chief said that the Governor was against the people of Tamil Nadu, as he does not accept any resolution from the Assembly.
As a governor against the Tamil Nadu people, against the Tamil Nadu police, every resolution from the assembly, he won't accept. Only one thing I can say, the 5 vice chancellor not appointed, like Anna University.
This is not the first time that the Raj Bhavan and the DMK government sparred over the custom in the Tamil Nadu Assembly. Last February, the governor had refused to deliver the customary address to the assembly and said that the draft had numerous passages with misleading claims far from the truth. The Raj Bhavan also said that the national anthem must be shown due respect and played both at the beginning and at the end of the governor's address.
At least 9 Jawans were killed in action after Maoists blew up their vehicle using an IED explosive in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. According to the preliminary information, the blast occurred on the Border-Gavaskar road in Bijapur district when soldiers were returning from an operation. And the soldiers in question here, viewers, are the DRG soldiers. 9 of them have been killed in action. As per sources, we've also gotten to know that the convoy had about 20 Jawans. We also have a report filed by my colleague Bharat on the same story. Take a look at this.
कि जो पूरा तारडिम्बल का जंगल दिख रहा है कि देख सकते हैं, ये पूरा फॉरेस्ट इलाका है, इंद्रावती के कोर इलाके हैं। इस इलाके पे ही आप समझ सकते हैं कुछ दूरी पे ही किस तरीके से माओवादियों ने प्रेशर आईडी लगाया था। 3 जिलों के जवान थे, संयुक्त ऑपरेशन के लिए निकले थे। उनकी ऑपरेशन ख़त्म करके उनकी वापसी हो रही थी। जब वापसी हो रही थी तो पिकअप में बैठ के वो सवार थे। उसी दरमियान जब वापसी के वक्त प्रेशर आईडी की चपेट में वो आ जाते हैं। चपेट में जब आते हैं तो वाहन उड़ जाता है। उड़ने के बाद परकच्चे हो जाते हैं। 9 जवानों की शहादत जो है वो हो जाती है। मैं आपको दिखाने की पूरी कोशिश करता हूँ। इस वक्त देखिए ये देखिए पगडंडी आपको नज़र आ रहा होगा। ये पगडंडी को देख के आप अंदाज़ा लगाया जा सकता है। इससे कुछ दूरी पे देखिए वो झाड़ आपको नज़र आ रहा होगा, जहाँ पे उससे 50 मीटर की दूरी पे ही माओवादियों ने प्रेशर आईडी लगाया था, जिसके जद में आने से 9 जवानों की शहादत हो गई है। इस पूरे विषय को लेके पुलिस के जो आला अधिकारी हैं वो भी बता रहे हैं कि किस तरीके की जो प्लानिंग है माओवादियों की थी। बस्तर आईजी ने भी स्पष्ट कर दिया है कि किस तरीके से 3 जिलों के जवान माओवादियों से लोहा लेने के लिए, नक्सलियों से लोहा लेने के लिए ऐसे घने जंगलों पे वो सर्चिंग के लिए निकलते हैं। ये देखिएगा, ये तारडिम्बल आपको नज़र आ रहा होगा। ये देखिए कैमरामैन थोड़ा नज़दीक आइएगा और इस पूरे इलाके को दिखाइएगा। आगे जाने से हमें मना किया जा रहा है क्योंकि आगे जो घोर जंगल है और वही जंगल है, यहाँ से कुछ दूरी पे ही माओवादियों ने प्रेशर आईडी लगाया। जहाँ के जो परकच्चे हैं वो उड़ गए, वहाँ पुलिस की आमद है, पुलिस की मौजूदगी है। ऐसे में आप समझ सकते हैं कि कितनी बड़ी हादसा को माओवादियों ने अंजाम दिया है।
The IED blast was so powerful that the roof of the vehicle was blown off. An alert was immediately sounded in the surrounding areas and a rescue operation was launched to save the injured personnel and to provide treatment to them. Listen in to some reactions, including from the Deputy Chief Minister Chhattisgarh and the former Chief Minister Raman Singh from Chhattisgarh. In fact, also the IG of the state. Take a look.
2-3 दिनों से जिला बीजापुर, नारायणपुर, दंतेवाड़ा के सीमावर्ती इलाके में सुरक्षा बल द्वारा अभियान संचालित की जा रही थी। इस अभियान में टोटल अब तक 5 माओवादियों की डेड बॉडी रिकवर की गई थी। हमारे एक जवान मुठभेड़ में उनका शहादत भी हुआ। तत्पश्चात अभियान के बाद सर्चिंग को पूर्ण करके सुरक्षा बल द्वारा वापस बेस कैंप आ रहे थे। इस दौरान जिला बीजापुर की बेदरे एवं कुट्टू के बीच में अम्बेली के पास माओवादी द्वारा लाए गए एक आईडी ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आने से हमारा एक वाहन आईडी के चपेट में आ गए थे। उसमें सवार हमारा 8 डीआरजी दंतेवाड़ा के जवान का शहादत हो गई थी। उसके एक ड्राइवर का भी शहादत हो गई। कुल 9 का शहादत का भी जानकारी प्राप्त हो रहे थे। उस स्पॉट में अभी रीइंफोर्समेंट टीम और अन्य जितना भी जो इवैक्यूएशन टीम पहुँच गए थे। अभी तक जो प्राथमिक जानकारी अनुसार कुल सुरक्षा बल का 8 एवं एक ड्राइवर, कुल 9 लोग का इस घटना में शहादत हो गए थे। और विस्तृत जानकारी जैसा घटनास्थल का इंस्पेक्शन के बाद फिर और भी जैसा फील्ड से जो जानकारी है उसी के पश्चात हम बता पाएगा।
बीजापुर से ये एक नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत की जानकारी आई है। सभी नौजवानों के प्रति मैं अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। ये नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत है। जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में, निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़, बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त होगा।
ये नक्सल जब इनके खिलाफ बड़े ऑपरेशन चलते हैं, वो कायराना हरकत पे उतारू आते हैं और ब्लास्ट करके जवानों को करीब जो अभी तक की जानकारी आ रही है कि हमारे 10 जवान शहीद हुए हैं। वो निश्चित रूप से इस पूरे घटना में हम अपनी दुख व्यक्त करते हैं। उनके परिवार को इस तकलीफ को सहने की इच्छा शक्ति दे भगवान। और नक्सलवाद के खिलाफ जो गंभीर कदम सरकार उठा रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार, गृह मंत्री विजय जी और केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और दोनों सरकारें, तो इस कदम को और आगे बढ़ाएंगे। इसे इस घटना कायरतापूर्ण घटना से सरकार डरने वाली या झुकने वाली नहीं है। कठोरता से इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई जारी रहेगी।
CAG's findings on Kejriwal's chief ministerial residence reports 96 lakh rupees on curtains and 67 lakh rupees spent on marbles. We're tracking this and a lot more for you right after this short break. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
Well, I think that's absurd to sentence the President of the United States, or soon to be President of the United States, for a case in which he never even charged what the underlying felony is that he supposedly was furthering.
mode on Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra lets you capture stunning photos and videos even in the darkest settings. By reducing noise and enhancing details, it ensures that every shot is sharp, vibrant, and beautifully balanced. Say goodbye to blurry, washed-out night shots and hello to vivid, optimized imagery that truly brings your nighttime moments to life. Ready to experience the magic of nightography? Let's go!
PM Modi today inaugurated new Jammu Railway Division, Charlapalli New Terminal Station in Telangana, and laid the foundation stone for the Rayagada Railway Division building of East Coast Railway. The BJP's Kalkaji candidate Ramesh Bidhuri today courted yet another controversy after objectifying Priyanka Gandhi Vadra yesterday, this time getting personal with Delhi Chief Minister Atishi. Bidhuri claimed Atishi changed her father by changing her surname from Marlena to Singh. Now politics has intensified over his statements after the Congress condemned the derogatory remarks back-to-back fired on women leaders.
मुझे लगता है रमेश बिधूरी जी चुनाव लड़ने से पहले ही हार चुके हैं। इस तरह की भाषा का किसी भी तरह, चाहे वो कांग्रेस की नेता हो, आम आदमी पार्टी, चाहे भाजपा की हो, कल रमेश बिधूरी जी हो सकता है कि भाजपा की अपनी ही किसी महिला, जो क्योंकि उनको बहुत सी महिलाएं भाजपा के अंदर ही नाराज हो चुकी हैं कि भाषा इस तरह की हुई तो हम महिलाएं भाजपा मोर्चा वाली उनके साथ नहीं चल पाएंगे। हो सकता है गुस्सा आके कल रमेश बिधूरी जी पलटकर भाजपा महिला मोर्चा महिलाओं के लिए अब तीसरी बार कुछ कह दे। सो ये बिल्कुल निचले स्तर की राजनीति है और मुझे लगता है हमें मुद्दों पे बात करनी चाहिए।
Thousands of villagers from Adavathur, Vayalur and Somara Samapettai villages in Trichy blocked the road and held a protest to stop merging their villages with the Trichy Corporation. BRS MLC K. Kavitha took a dig at Chief Minister Revant Reddy government for filing illegal cases against those who raised their voices on behalf of the people. Kavitha alleged that the government is acting vengefully against BRS working president K.T. Rama Rao with false cases. She reaffirmed that their fight for the rights of the people will continue relentlessly. As we come to the end of this newsreel, let's record and summarize with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin lashed out at State Governor R.N. Ravi for leaving the assembly without delivering his customary address, calling it childish and charged the latter with continuously insulting the people of the state and the government appointed by them. Responding to Ravi walking out of the house and refraining from delivering his address to the MLAs on the first day of the year's assembly session, Stalin said the governor had skipped some portions and added some in his address in the previous years. There you have it, the precise reading of the news in a simpler format using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We will be back with the headlines in a few minutes.
His inspiring generosity reminds us all of our capacity and our obligation to stand up to the abuse of power and to be guardians of democracy and all people yearning to be free.
For the final time as President, I have the honor of bestowing the Medal of Freedom on our nation's highest civilian honor on a group of extraordinary, truly extraordinary people who gave their sacred effort to shape the culture and the cause of America. As cultural icons, dignified statesmen, humanitarians, rock stars, sports stars, you feed the hungry, you give hope to those who are hurting, and you craft the signs and sounds, our movements and our memories. You know, it's amazing. Your innovation, you inspire, you bring healing and joy to so many lives, otherwise wouldn't be touched.
$26.5 billion to India's economy by 2028. Get your notes in just a few taps, even as you multitask. Note Assist, powered by Galaxy AI, transcribes recordings and organizes them into notes, producing super useful summaries. So record and summarize with Note Assist. Galaxy AI is here.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Thank you for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with Note Assist using Samsung Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. 9 Jawans killed in action as Maoists target their vehicle. CAG's findings on Kejriwal's chief ministerial residence reports rupees 96 lakh used on curtains and 67 lakh rupees used on marbles. 4 cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru, Ahmedabad and Kolkata. No international travel history reported. India condemns Pakistani airstrike in Afghanistan, says it is an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures. That was the news summarized with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start our big story of the day. A fresh case of HMP virus has been detected in Gujarat, where a 2-month-old infant is undergoing treatment. This comes shortly after at least 2 more HMPV cases were reported in Bengaluru earlier today. The Health Ministry has assured that the surveillance systems will remain robust and there will be no unusual surge in influenza-like illness or severe acute respiratory infection cases across the country, reinforcing confidence in the nation's health monitoring mechanisms. Now, of the 3 cases, all 3 are of infants. In Bengaluru, a 3-month-old infant and an 8-month-old infant were traced with the HMPV virus. In fact, one of those infants has now recovered and is out of the hospital. One more case came earlier today from Gujarat's Ahmedabad. We also have reactions from Gundu Rao, the Health Minister of Karnataka. Take a listen.
This is not something that is new, and as far as we know, even the people who, the child also who in Baptist Hospital who had the HMPV symptoms were also very normal. Tomorrow, I think most probably will be discharged. They'll be discharged. So let us see. I mean, we should not press the panic button or create any confusion. And I'm having a meeting now with our officers because I've told them to also have a further discussion with ICMR and Government of India and see anything new is there. And as far as this goes, these are regular kind of symptoms and no fatalities and no serious health. So far, I would say this is not a serious public health issue.
He took up a meeting with the department, and whatever decision he takes, the government will implement it, and the government will take all precautionary measures to implement and to prevent the disease.
Viewers, At least 4 cases of HMPV virus have been reported in India, 2 of which were reported in Bengaluru. The first ones that were reported of 2 infants, one a 3-month-old infant and the other an 8-month-old infant. Thankfully, one of those infants is out of the hospital and has recovered. In fact, we just heard the health minister of Karnataka, who has said that there is no need to panic. 1 case has been reported from Gujarat and at least 1 more. The latest one was reported in Kolkata. Tracking the top story of the hour, at least 9 Jawans were killed in action after Maoists blew up their vehicle using an IED explosive in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. According to preliminary information, the blast occurred on the Bedre-Kutru road in Bijapur district when soldiers were returning from an operation. Now, as per sources, we know that there were at least 20 DRG Jawans travelling in the convoy that was struck. An SUV, a Scorpio SUV carrying Jawans, was struck again. These are the different visuals from the site of the IED blast, where at least 9 Jawans have been killed in action. There were also arms and ammunition that was recovered from the site of the IED blast in heavy numbers. An SUV, a Scorpio carrying Jawans, DRG Jawans, was targeted by Maoists in Chhattisgarh at afternoon today. In fact, there were statements that came out from the Deputy Chief Minister Chhattisgarh, Arun Sao, who said that this will be avenged in full action. Listen in to all the reactions that are pouring in, including from the Deputy Chief Minister Arun Sao, the former Chief Minister Raman Singh, and in fact also the IG Chhattisgarh. Listen in.
2-3 दिनों से जिला बीजापुर, नारायणपुर, दंतेवाड़ा के सीमावर्ती इलाके में सुरक्षा बल द्वारा अभियान संचालित की जा रही थी। इस अभियान में टोटल अब तक 5 माओवादी की डेड बॉडी रिकवर की गई थी। हमारे एक जवान मुठभेड़ में उनका शहादत भी हुआ। तत्पश्चात अभियान के बाद सर्चिंग को पूर्ण करके सुरक्षा बल द्वारा वापस बेस कैंप आ रहे थे। इस दौरान जिला बीजापुर की बेदरे एवं कुट्टू के बीच में अम्बेली के पास माओवादी द्वारा लाए गए एक आईडी ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आने से हमारा एक वाहन आईडी के चपेट में आ गई थी। उसमें सवार हमारा 8 डीआरजी दंतेवाड़ा के जवान का शहादत हो गई थी। उसके एक ड्राइवर का भी शहादत हो गई। कुल 9 का शहादत का भी जानकारी प्राप्त हो रहे थे। उस स्पॉट में अभी रीइंफोर्समेंट टीम और अन्य जितना भी जो इवैक्यूएशन टीम पहुँच गए थे। अभी तक जो प्राथमिक जानकारी अनुसार कुल सुरक्षा बल का 8 एवं एक ड्राइवर, कुल 9 लोग इस घटना में शहादत हो गए थे। और विस्तृत जानकारी जैसा घटनास्थल का इंस्पेक्शन के बाद फिर और भी जैसा फील्ड से जो जानकारी है उसी के पश्चात हम बता पाएगा।
बीजापुर से ये एक नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत की जानकारी आई है। सभी नौजवानों के प्रति मैं अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। ये नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत है। जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में, निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़, बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त होगा।
ये नक्सल जब इनके खिलाफ बड़े ऑपरेशन चलते हैं, वो कायराना हरकत पे उतारू आते हैं और ब्लास्ट करके जवानों को करीब जो अभी तक की जानकारी आ रही है कि हमारे 10 जवान शहीद हुए हैं। वो निश्चित रूप से इस पूरे घटना में हम अपनी दुख व्यक्त करते हैं। उनके परिवार को इस तकलीफ को सहने की इच्छा शक्ति दे भगवान। और नक्सलवाद के खिलाफ जो गंभीर कदम सरकार उठा रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार, गृह मंत्री विजय जी और केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और दोनों सरकारें, तो इस कदम को और आगे बढ़ाएंगे। इसे इस घटना कायरतापूर्ण घटना से सरकार डरने वाली है, झुकने वाली नहीं है। कठोरता से इनके खिलाफ कार्रवाई जारी रहेगी।
बहुत ही
शर्मनाक घटना है। मैं इस घटना में मारे गए हमारे जवानों को, उनकी शहादत को सर झुका के नमन करता हूं। ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करता हूं कि उनकी पुण्य आत्मा को अपने चरणों में स्थान दे। और हिंसा का कोई स्थान नहीं होना चाहिए। मैं समझता हूं कि ये जो घटना हुई है, इसका भारत सरकार और हमारी जो एजेंसियां हैं, जो गृह मंत्रालय के अधीन आती हैं, वो इसका मुंहतोड़ जवाब दें।
Viewers, in a big breaking news, the Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Vishnu Deosai has also given his statement on the IED blast that claimed the lives of 8 security personnel. Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh has tweeted, and I'm quoting him here, that the news of the soldiers being killed in action along with the driver in an IED blast carried out by Maoists in Kutru of Bijapur district is extremely saddening. He also extended his condolences to the families of the soldiers who've been killed in action. He said, and I'm quoting him here again, "I pray to God for peace to the souls of the soldiers who were killed in action and to provide strength to the bereaved families of the 8 soldiers and the driver who were killed in an IED blast today afternoon in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district." The Chief Minister also said that the Maoists are frustrated with the ongoing Maoist eradication campaign in Bastar and are perpetrating cowardly attacks of frustration. He also confirmed that the soldiers being killed in action will not go in vain. Shifting focus to news from Bharat in just 5 minutes. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held talks with US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan today, broadly reviewing the trajectory of India-US global strategic partnership in the last 4 years under the Biden administration. Sullivan is on a visit to India 2 weeks ahead of Donald Trump's inauguration as the 47th president of the US. One of the most significant measures initiated to expand the bilateral ties was that US and India initiative on critical and emerging technology. The Madhya Pradesh High Court today granted 6 weeks to the state government to act on the Union Carbide factory waste disposal as per the safety guidelines. It also directed the media not to give incorrect news or information on the issue of the waste disposal. The waste, packed in 12 sealed containers, was shifted from Bhopal to the disposal site at Pithampur in Dhar district on the 2nd of January. The High Court's division bench, comprising Chief Justice S.K. Kaith and Justice Vivek Jain, granted time to the state government after Advocate General Prashant Singh sought it to take the public of Pithampur into confidence and dispel fear from their minds before taking up the waste disposal. High drama unfolded at the Telangana Anti-Corruption Bureau office today after BRS working president K.T. Rama Rao, who was summoned in connection with the ongoing investigation into Formula E race case, was denied the company of his advocate, prompting him to submit his statement outside the office. Rama Rao reached the Anti-Corruption Bureau headquarters shortly after 10 a.m. today and was barred from entering the premises by the police, who objected to the presence of his advocate.
The FIR that has been lodged against me by the Anti-Corruption Bureau is frivolous, is an abuse of process of law, and is a travesty of justice. And extensive arguments have been made by both sides, both ACB and my side also, on 31st of December. Now the judgment is reserved. I do not know why the ACB had to call me within a week when the matter is very much pending with the Honorable High Court.
Suresh Chandrakar, the prime accused in the murder of a journalist in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district, has been arrested from Hyderabad by a special investigation team today. The accused, who is a contractor by profession, was absconding since the murder of journalist Mukesh Chandrakar came to light on the 3rd of January. The special investigation team constituted to conduct the probe into the murder case rounded up Suresh Chandrakar from Hyderabad late on Sunday night. Inspector General of Police has said that. In a tragic incident, 2 women pilgrims on their way to the temple in Tirupati district lost their lives after a 108 ambulance lost control and ran over them. The accident also injured 3 other pilgrims who are currently hospitalized for treatment. The cause of the accident is yet to be ascertained and the investigation has been launched pertaining to the accident. A multi-story building which had been declared unsafe collapsed in Sector 17 in Chandigarh today. After the collapse around 7:15 a.m., the area was cordoned off by the police and fire tender was pressed into service. The building was earlier declared unsafe by authorities.
मिली थी 27 तारीख को, तो ये रेंट आउट किया हुआ था, तो इसमें रिनोवेशन का काम चल रहा था। तो उस दिन के इसके 3 पिलर डैमेज हो गए थे, तो उस दिन के बाद ये हमने खाली करा के ना कॉर्डन ऑफ कर दी गई थी। तो आज सुबह 7:15 बजे ये बिल्डिंग कोलैप्स कर गई है।
Scores of AIADMK students' wing members were detained by the police today when they attempted to stage a protest in front of Anna University in Chennai, demanding justice for a student who was sexually assaulted on the university campus in December last year. The protesters made a bid to distribute black bands to the students and public as a mark of support to the affected students and to garner the attention of the state government to arrest the real perpetrator. Police, however, detained all of them as they were denied permission to hold the protest. Viewers, time to slip into a short break, but after the break, CAG's findings on Kejriwal's chief ministerial residence reports 96 lakh rupees spent on curtains and 67 lakh rupees used on marbles. Tracking this and a lot more for you right after this short break. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
artificial intelligence has changed the way we do things, and so much more is in the offing.
Republic is proud to announce a game-changing partnership with Samsung, because with Samsung, Galaxy AI is here.
From our news anchors to reporters to network staff, we will be using Samsung devices, Galaxy Z series and Galaxy S series, powered by Galaxy AI, every day behind the scenes to bring you the news.
Faster, simpler, with more productivity, efficiency and creativity.
Republic and Samsung together unfold a new world of possibilities. It's going to be an epic adventure together.
Viewers, in a big breaking news coming in, we have learnt that the US is likely to remove India from its entity list. United States and India will also boost the civil nuclear cooperation amongst each other. In fact, US and India will operationalize the civil nuclear deal, which has been left hanging since 2008. Now, what is the entity list? The entity list is a US government compilation where they deem any country a national security concern. Listen in to US's outgoing national security advisor, Jake Sullivan.
Me to another historic step in the journey. Although former President Bush and former Prime Minister Singh laid out a vision of civil nuclear cooperation nearly 20 years ago, we have yet to fully realize it. But as we work to build clean energy technologies, to enable growth in artificial intelligence, and to help US and Indian energy companies unlock their innovation potential, the Biden administration has determined that it is past time to take the next major step in cementing this partnership. So today I can announce that the United States is now finalizing the necessary steps to remove long-standing regulations that have prevented civil nuclear cooperation between India's leading nuclear entities and US companies. The formal paperwork will be done soon, but this will be an opportunity to turn the page on some of the frictions of the past and create opportunities for entities that have been on restricted lists in the United States to come off those lists and enter into deep collaboration with the United States, with our private sector, with our scientists and technologists to move civil nuclear cooperation forward together. This is a statement of confidence in the progress we've made and the progress we will continue to make as strategic partners and as countries who share a commitment to peaceful nuclear cooperation. It's also the result of India's open and transparent engagement with our administration over the course of 4 years, which has enabled us to open this new chapter together.
Also being joined by our senior executive editor, Abhishek Kapoor, on the phone line to get us more on the story. Abhishek, big revelations right there. The US is likely to remove India from the entity list. In fact, they have also called for boosting the civil nuclear cooperation between India and the US. Tell us more about these remarks that the outgoing NSA Jake Sullivan has made in the national capital earlier today. Abhishek.
Well, you see, Sullivan was speaking at the Indian Institute of Technology, New Delhi, and he was addressing academia and techies from the IIT world, and of course the diplomatic corps and the media. And there he made this comment. It's a significant comment coming in from the US National Security Advisor. He sort of began by the fact that 2008, with much effort by both the sides, the civil nuclear deal was signed. Yet it has not fructified on the ground. It has not translated into much activity when it comes to moving in the direction of making nuclear energy easily available at affordable rates across India and rest of the world. Because remember, this is about integrating India with the larger global nuclear trade. And United States at that time had amended many of its laws to make India eligible, but somehow the last mile work in terms of deregulating at the end of the US did not happen. Remember, this was signed when George W. Bush was the president of the Republican Party as a Republican administration. And since then, we have had three Democrat administrations, 2 terms of Barack Obama and 1 of Joe Biden. And then, of course, in between one of Trump, and yet it was not somehow operationalized. Now he said that U.S. is in stages of operationalizing the U.S. civil nuclear deal with all the deregulation taking place in some time.
Right. That was a senior executive editor Abhishek Kapoor. Thanks for joining us on the broadcast, Abhishek. Now, the outgoing US National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan has said that India might be taken off the US's entity list. Now, the list bans countries and, in fact, conglomerates which the US sees as a national threat. Moving on, it's time to take a short break, but on the other side of the break, we will be tracking the likely resignation of the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, where calls inside and outside of his party for his resignation have grown. We'll track what has gotten him to the exit door. This and a lot more right after this short break. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
Well, I think that's absurd to sentence the President of the United States, or soon to be President of the United States, for a case in which he never even charged what the underlying felony is that he supposedly was furthering.
Thank you for joining us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. 9 Jawans are martyred as Maoists target their vehicle. CAG's findings on Kejriwal Chief Minister's residence reports viewers staggeringly 96 lakh rupees on curtains, 67 lakhs that are used on marble. 3 cases of HMPV reports in India from Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. No international travel history. And India condemns Pakistani airstrikes in Afghanistan, says it's an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures. That was the news summarized with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start our big story of the day. And viewers, our top focus. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau expected to resign, finally, possibly, as the leader of the Liberal Party this week amid internal party dissent and low public opinion ratings, according to a media report. The 2 newspaper citing sources say it's unclear when exactly Trudeau, who has been Canada's Prime Minister since 2015, will step down, but a resignation is expected to come before a National Caucus meeting on Wednesday. The sources who spoke recently to the Prime Minister also said that Trudeau realizes he needs to make a statement before he meets the Liberal caucus, so it doesn't look like he was forced out by his own MPs. Now, they're unsure about what the Liberal Party's national executive plans to do so and replace Trudeau as leader are going to be, but it's unclear whether he's going to leave immediately or stay on as Prime Minister until a new leader is selected. Let me quickly go across to my colleague Niranjan. Niranjan, this is extremely welcome news for India, but we need to get a sense of what exactly The strategy that is being planned is, as Trudeau, who's given out one flop after the other, even when it comes to Canada's own housing policies or Canada's own internal crisis brewing, he couldn't see the line. What seems to be the way ahead for Trudeau, who seems to be possibly resigning soon?
Well, before that, I just have a little bit of a breaking news update that I'd like to give in. If I can go across to that breaking news now coming in rhythm. This is, just before Canada begins its day. It's a Monday, and it's a fantastic Monday, especially for the opposition in Canada. Let me go across to that breaking first up. Because Justin Trudeau's staffers, the PMO, that is the outgoing Canadian PMO, staffers who work for Justin Trudeau are going to meet today. That's the breaking news update that I wanted to get in right now. The first breaking news update we're getting in from the media in Canada and from the different media outlets reporting on the imminent ouster of Justin Trudeau, that the PMO staffers are meeting as Trudeau's announcement looms. It's only a question of when. It's not a question of if he will resign, it's a question of when he will resign, and in all likelihood he's going to resign today. Justin Trudeau could resign as early as today, and we are hearing that staffers in his office will meet today to chart out their path. And his chief of staff, I repeat, Trudeau's chief of staff will also convey that they do not see a path forward in the absence of support from the caucus, which means Justin Trudeau's PMO also believes there is no way forward for Justin Trudeau. They believe there is no support. He has lost out support. A key ally of his called Jagmeet Singh of the NDP, pro-Khalistani. We've seen Jagmeet Singh of the NDP, was literally the lifeline for Justin Trudeau, which was why Justin Trudeau bent backwards to accommodate and openly back the farmers' protests, even in New Delhi. But this is a big setback for him because Jagmeet Singh has also just towards the last week of December, he has announced that he will bring in a no-confidence motion against Justin Trudeau. And the kind of opposition that he's been facing in the last few months. And I want to record that because pictures don't lie. And what happens in the Canadian Parliament, it's available in the internet, right? It's all over the media. We all have access to the global media, the global wires. And I want to show you some of the pictures before going across to the former High Commissioner of India who served in Canada. Vikas Swarup will be joining us live. But before that, if I can show the pictures, if I can show you the pictures first up, one by one, right? At one point of time, India had been close to Justin Trudeau. We rolled out the red carpet at one point for him, but in the last few engagements, even our Prime Minister was least interested, right? Even the Prime Minister had snubbed Justin Trudeau. He had snubbed Justin Trudeau at the G20 summit, so much so that it was so obvious that Joe Biden was trying to pull the Prime Minister close to Justin Trudeau just so that the Prime Minister would, even give him that 1 second of attention. It was actually 1 second of attention that Justin Trudeau got from Prime Minister Modi during the G20 summit. Look at that. That's how awkward it was, right? Joe Biden had to literally hold his hand and make him look to the left and force Prime Minister Modi. Joe Biden pulled Justin Trudeau with his right hand, put his left hand over the shoulder of Prime Minister Modi, and he literally, tried to coerce a hi hello at the G20 summit. That's how awkward it got between the two countries. And of course, he's not popular. Forget about India. He's not popular in Canada. He's so unpopular that pictures will tell you, right? If I can play out the different images, these are pictures and videos of how people are abusing Justin Trudeau, across Canada. Wherever he goes, he's confronted by people. People ask him awkward questions. They abuse him. They tell him he's pretty useless as a leader and it's about time for him to leave office. See, look at him. That's another day of Justin Trudeau being humiliated in public. Look at him. There's a woman, in fact, in this video, which is being circulated on social media. That's Justin Trudeau enjoying Christmas break. And then she puts out her hand to shake his hand. And then she abuses him, right? That is Justin Trudeau. That's his popularity. That he's so popular that wherever he goes, he gets abused, right? And I'll tell you why he's so unpopular. Let's show you the other pictures, right? The other pictures of why he's so unpopular in Canada. These are pictures of how he gave a free run to the Khalistanis, so much so that they attacked Indians. They entered Indian temples and attacked Indian temples. This was a Brampton temple attack when Khalistani supporters, whose biggest backer was Justin Trudeau, let them do that. And then there was so much of an international backlash that that was finally the final nail in Trudeau's coffin, because he was isolated. After that, he was forced to admit that yes, this was wrong, and they had crossed a line. And there are more pictures. In fact, if I can show you why he's unpopular, images through the Trudeau regime in Canada and how bad it's been. Garbage on the streets of Canada, right? Their economy is in shambles. That's the biggest talking point on how the middle class and different people in the Canadian society are unable to make ends meet. They can't make ends meet in Canada. Our prices have hit the roof. And Justin Trudeau, as a Prime Minister in the last 10 years, has been unable to bring his country to any semblance of a decent economy, let alone being the G20, right? Let me show you other pictures, Rhythm. And these are pictures of how Nihang Sikhs were seen carrying swords on the streets of Canada. They were given a free run. These Khalistanis, Nihang Sikhs and Khalistanis, I'm not clubbing the both. There are Nihang Sikhs in India as well, but Nihang Sikhs were seen carrying swords, so he was criticized for that as well. Let me show you some more pictures. And recently, and one of the most visible aspects of, the rebellion towards Justin Trudeau's regime came towards the convoy movement or the truckers movement. Canadian truckers held a protest over vaccination norms, about how Justin Trudeau refused to hear them out, right? And these are images of what has happened under Justin Trudeau in the last few years. I would say in the last 3 to 4 years especially, and when he crossed that line with India again and again and again. Okay, let me go across now to Vikas Swarup. Ambassador Vikas Swarup. He's been the High Commissioner of India to Canada. Good evening, Mr. Swarup. And as we get these pictures in from over the years, you've been a close observer of the going-ons in Calcutta, in Canada. What do you make of the support that he has lost out on? Was it seen coming? Mr. Swarup.
Yes, I'm not surprised at all by these reports that Justin Trudeau is about to resign. It was, as you yourself mentioned, not a question of if, but when. And the end has come sooner than we expected. I think it was triggered mainly by the resignation of Chrystia Freeland, his finance minister, who refused to go along with his scheme to, dole out millions in freebies at a time when Trump is threatening 25% tariffs on Canada. And I think that was the last straw. And since then, the caucuses in the Atlantic provinces, in Quebec, and in Ontario have rebelled. And as a result, out of the 153 Liberal MPs in Parliament, he has lost support of 131 of them. And that is why the writing was on the wall. And I think he has seen the writing and he has decided to put in his papers.
Yeah. Mr. Swarup.
I, in fact, want to also get in and ask you a question here. Not only has he done this, I don't even want to go into only what he's done with the Khalistanis, but even when it came to Canada's own housing policies, when it came to his own MPs of his own party, I don't think Justice Trudeau understood the troubles that were brewing for him. There were jitters in the Canadian economy, which he didn't see. There were jobs and housing crisis in Canada, which he didn't look at. So his troubles only became bigger, also with the illegal migration crisis. As a former diplomat, the way Justin Trudeau, I first want to get a sense on the way he behaved with our Indian ambassadors and how he summoned them and how he actually put them up in a fake case and said that they are being suspected as the main accused.
Well, that was certainly unprecedented. I don't think ever in the annals of diplomacy an ambassador to a foreign country has been declared a person of interest and then has been expelled. Our former ambassador there, Sanjay Kumar Verma, now has the, dubious distinction of being the first Indian diplomat to be declared persona non grata, which I think was totally uncalled for. There was no question of any Indian diplomat being engaged in any illegal activity on foreign soil. So this was certainly, I think he was again playing to the gallery, and trying to ramp up the pressure on India and trying to ramp up the image of India as a country which is, creating problems in Canada. And all this was, of course, done to protect China, which was really the main country contributing to foreign interference in Canada. He wanted to show that China is not the problem, India is the problem. But as you rightly said, this was just a series of blunders that has been contributing to his downfall. The cost of living crisis, most Canadians are now unable to even afford a housing. Then because of unchecked immigration, the cost of housing became unaffordable, especially because you took in so many international students, took in so many asylum seekers. As a result of that, the cost of housing became unaffordable for most Canadians. And, combined with that, the fact that the Canadian economy itself was sort of losing steam. Canada has among the lowest productivity among OECD countries. All that, I think, has contributed to create the scenario where it was just not tenable for Trudeau to continue any longer as the Prime Minister.
Yeah. Mr. Swaroop, over the years, the India-Canada relationship has eroded. Like my colleague Rhythm just mentioned, it's unprecedented, the levels to which our diplomats were brought down to. For the first time, unprecedented moves being made to accuse not just our diplomats but the Indian government on the whole of plotting a terrorist attack, which very ironically they had to go back on, saying that they made a mistake, they crossed a line, and they admitted their own failures in that investigation. But even before that, trying to meddle with India, trying to back the farmers' protest, and trying to back issues like the Khalistani protests, openly harboring Khalistani elements. Now, these are issues I'm sure during your tenure in Canada, you may have raised these issues, you may have discussed these issues. How did Canada take this? How did Trudeau take these issues from India? How did he deal with them indifferently in your view?
Well, look, the Khalistan issue is an issue that has been ongoing not just in recent years, but since actually 1985, when Air India Kanishka, as you know, was blown up on the 23rd of June. And we all know how botched the investigation was. People were still not held to account, even though 329 people lost their lives, and many of them were Canadians of Indian origin. But because they were brown-skinned, it probably didn't matter to them as much as it would have been if they were white Canadians who had lost their lives. So since then, the Khalistan issue has been an ongoing issue between India and Canada. It was at a low ebb. When I, for instance, joined as the Indian High Commissioner to Canada in 2017, it was at a low ebb. And we thought we can do good business with Justin Trudeau, who has just come in as the new leader of the Liberal Party. He was the Prime Minister. And we thought we could, do good business with him. Because, Canadian investment in India was rising. Canadian pension funds were very upbeat on India. They were investing more than $50 billion in India at that particular point in time.
Yes.
And then, as we know, we had the visit by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to India. We all thought that that would be a visit which would help solidify and cement a bilateral relationship. But unfortunately, we all know what happened during that visit and how we got blamed for the presence of a Khalistani militant at a reception that was hosted by the Canadian High Commissioner to India. And, they blamed us. And I think it was from that point onwards that the relationship started going downhill. And of course, it reached its absolute rock bottom with the expulsion of our ambassador.
Mr. Swaroop, one question here. Over the past year, several high-profile Canadian Liberal Party MPs, including Sean Casey, Ken McDonald, have criticized him. In fact, there was rumors of 20 MPs actually signing a pledge demanding his resignation. Do you think, to solve this domestic crisis that was brewing, he made allegations against India to deflect attention?
No. I think we are overestimating the role of India in Canadian political affairs. I do not think India was a political issue in Canada. It is really a combination of what has happened domestically and the Trump factor. I mean, let's not forget, 76% of Canada's trade is with the United States. $2.5 billion of goods travels the Canada-USA border every day. Every day. That's the extent of the engagement between Canada and the United States. So with Trump coming in, and Trump, as you know, has shown scant regard for Trudeau. He has always criticized him, he has mocked him, he has called him Governor Trudeau, almost referring to Canada as the 51st state of America. So I think it was the Trump factor coming in America and the fact that domestically the economy was not doing as well as Trudeau would have wanted it to, the housing crisis, the immigration crisis. And the fact that the Conservatives finally have a leader, who can rally a lot of Canadians around him. And that's why at the current moment, Pierre Poilievre's Conservatives are leading the Liberals by more than 30 percentage points. In fact, the Liberals under Trudeau are set to get just 13% of the vote, which will probably relegate it to even the third or the fourth party.
Yeah, relegated to a third or fourth party. That's the last point that I wanted to make with you, Ambassador Swaroop. My last question is, what makes him so unpopular? Because at one point of time he was propped up, and I'm talking about the liberal media, the Western media tried to prop him up as the face of liberalism across the world. You remember how he was such a poster boy? But today, he's hated across Canada. Wherever he goes, people are abusing him. They are, speaking straight to his face, telling him that he messed up as a prime minister. He's unpopular even in the US with the new incoming Trump regime. He's, I'm sure, even though we won't say it, unpopular with the Indian community and the Indian government, right? What makes him so unpopular?
Well, one, of course, is the fact that he has a surprising lack of self-awareness. If you look at, some of the things that he has done in the past, the use of blackface and things like that, it tells you that, he's a politician who was really very self-unaware. And secondly, I think there was a sense of entitlement, that I can get away with whatever. I think Trudeau is the most censured prime minister in the history of Canada, in terms of the number of ethics investigations into his conduct and the number of times that he has been rapped on the knuckles for, accepting gifts and freebies and things like that. But more than that, eventually it was the economy. Once the economy started decelerating and, the cost of living started biting Canadians, where even I felt it when I went to Canada since the time that I was in Canada. So the fact that, there was a real cost of living crisis, there was a housing crisis, there was an immigration crisis, and that the Conservatives finally had a leader, who could rally a majority of Canadians around him. I think all these, proved to be Trudeau's undoing. And then let's also not forget, globally, if you see, there is a hunger for change. In Canada, generally, leaders have a honeymoon period of maximum of 8 years. Even Trudeau's father got 8 years. Brian Mulroney got 8 years. So, Trudeau had also reached his sell-by date. He had reached his expiry date. It was just that he was not willing to acknowledge that until he was forced to acknowledge that I have reached my expiry date and I have to quit now.
Absolutely. Mr. Swaroop, as Niranjan and I thank you for being with us. It was an absolute pleasure getting a first-hand sense from you as a diplomat as to what really led to the complete downfall of Justin Trudeau. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Coming up after a short break, viewers, IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. 9 Jawans martyred as Maoists target their vehicle.
जिसको पिछले 20 वर्ष से आदत लगी हुई है जनता की बात न मानने की, वो 4 दिन में कैसे झुकेगा? सरकार की असंवेदनशीलता है, उनका अहंकार है और कहीं न कहीं उनका ये भ्रम है कि बिहार की जनता खड़ी नहीं होगी। कोई रणनीति नहीं, बस बैठे रहना है, चाहे जो करना पड़े। तो अगर बिहार में बदलाव चाहिए तो आपको, हमको, सबको खड़ा होना पड़ेगा। आज मुख्यमंत्री से मिलने के लिए 20 दिन से बच्चे टाइम मांग रहे हैं। उनके पास 5 मिनट समय नहीं है कि इन बच्चों से 5 मिनट के लिए मिल ले। कैसे झुकेगी 4 दिन में? जिसको पिछले 20 वर्ष से आदत लगी हुई है जनता की बात न मानने की, वो 4 दिन में कैसे झुकेगा? जिसको पिछले 20 वर्ष से आदत लगी हुई है जनता की बात न मानने की, वो 4 दिन में कैसे झुकेगा? सरकार की असंवेदनशीलता है, उनका अहंकार है और कहीं न कहीं उनका ये भ्रम है कि बिहार की जनता खड़ी नहीं होगी, चाहे उसके साथ जितना अन्याय हो जाए, वो खड़ी नहीं होगी। अपने लिए नहीं खड़ी होगी, अपने बच्चों के लिए नहीं खड़ी होगी। जब चुनाव आएगा तो लोग फिर जातियों में बढ़ जाएंगे, फिर धर्म के नाम पर वोट दे देंगे। इसीलिए लोग जनता की चिंता नहीं कर रहे हैं। कोई रणनीति नहीं, बस बैठे रहना है, चाहे जो करना पड़े। जब तक बिहार के लोग जगेंगे नहीं, तब तक सुधार होगा नहीं। और लोगों को ये समझना होगा कि जन बल के आगे कोई बल नहीं है, लेकिन जन बल तब होगा ना जब आप घर से बाहर निकलिएगा, अपने और अपने बच्चों के लिए खड़े होइएगा, वरना 5 साल बाद।
Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 and Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, powered by Galaxy AI, bring you the latest news in a super efficient and summarized format from across the country, only on Republic TV.
And viewers, if you're wondering what the weather in your city is today, here's the weather update brought to you by Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, powered by Galaxy AI.
Virat Kohli's intensity and drive for perfection have been the defining traits of his career, and even though he's winding down his time in the sport, it still plays a key role in his demeanor. Kohli's ability to score plenty of runs at will has seen him scale heights few can scarcely believe, but his willingness to engage in verbal battles have also held him in good stead. Things were no different in the 2024-25 Border-Gavaskar trophy, even though it really took Kohli a while to get going. Indifferent form may have played a part in that too. He started the series with 100 at Perth, which led many to believe that he had rediscovered the form that had so badly deserted him in red ball cricket. But it was a false dawn. Twin failures in Adelaide and Brisbane brought more scrutiny over Kohli's meagre returns with the bat, but while he could not rediscover his form in the ground, he did rediscover the anger and intensity that many associate with him. It started in the Melbourne Test, where he decided to take on a bunch of fans who were heckling him after he was dismissed. The visuals went viral, but Kohli's aggressive showings weren't done. In that same Test match, he took on Australian debutant Sam Constas and even barged into the youngster during the game. which Constas did his best to downplay afterwards. I think the emotions got to the both of us. I didn't quite realize I was doing my glove, then a little shoulder charge, but it happens in cricket. Whatever happens on the field, stays on the field, Constas said. However, Kohli was charged with breaching level 1 of the ICC Code of Conduct and accepted the sanctions proposed by match referee Andy Pycroft at the end of that day. He was also fined 20% of his match fee, a punishment which many saw as insufficient. But it did not stop there. Kohli was once again front and center.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
CRPF vehicle that was targeted by Maoists in Chhattisgarh. 9 of our Jawans were martyred in that attack. We'll get you all the details at 6 p.m. as the Chhattisgarh government has said that the sacrifice of our forces will not go in vain. Don't forget to tune in. Good evening and thank you for tuning in. I'm Suesha Sawant and you join us on Republic TV. Let's get you the news summarized with notices using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. IED blasted Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. 9 Jawans martyred as Maoists target their vehicle. CAG's findings on Kejriwal. CM residence reports 96 lakh rupees on curtains, 67 lakh rupees on marble. Three cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. No international travel history. India condemns Pakistani airstrikes in Afghanistan, says it is an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures. And well, that was the news summarized with notices using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Let's start with our big story of the day. And yes, Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi, who alleged disrespect to the national anthem and the constitution and walked out of the state assembly without reading his customary address on the first day of the winter session. Reacting to Ravi's walkout, Stalin said that governor had made it his custom to violate the constitutional practice of reading out the government's address. Tamil Nadu governor appealed to Chief Minister and Speaker to sing the national anthem. However, they refused, is what was alleged. Look at these pictures of how this angered Tamil Nadu governor, who staged a walkout. In fact, we also put out details of the statement that was later released by the Raj Bhavan, where the Raj Bhavan had said that only state song was sung on the arrival of governor to the house, and that is brazen respect to the constitution and national anthem by DMK. Raj Bhavan also alleging brazen refusal to play the national anthem in the house. In fact, this evoked several reactions after the Raj Bhavan claimed that there was a brazen refusal to play the national anthem in the house, and only state-sung song was played on the arrival of the governor to the house. DMK put out a strong response. It said that the governor must explain his intent in leaving the house without reading the full speech, and that ensued into a war of words. And we now get you the political reactions that came in after what had happened on the floor of the House, where both the BJP and Congress have put out their opinion. Listen in.
Excellency Governor, against the Tamil Nadu people, against the Tamil Nadu police, every resolution from the Assembly, you won't accept. You want to bring the three language. You want to bring the new education policy. The Tamil Nadu people against that. How can we allow?
The DMK government's hostile reaction to singing the national anthem only reflects and exposes the DMK's disrespect to our constitution creators like Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar ji, and our national anthem.
And the DMK government is failure to sing the national anthem in the assembly. So this is totally violating the constitution of India. DMK is always believes like this anti-national and anti-constitutional.
Moving on, as the BJP has claimed that a CAG report raised 139 questions related to former Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's previous Flagstaff Road residence and exposed his black deeds. The Aam Aadmi Party has claimed that there is a deliberate attempt to defame Kejriwal. In fact, the entire details on your screens of the kind of expenditure that was made on the CM Palace, 96 lakh rupees that was spent, where silk carpets costed 16 lakh rupees, kitchen equipment 39 lakhs, marble walls costing 66 lakhs, floor tiles to the tune of 14 lakh rupees, a TV console that costed nearly 20 lakh rupees, gym gear of more than 18 lakh rupees, and a mini bar of more than 18 lakh rupees is what was stated in the CAG report. In fact, the BJP has sharpened its attack, alleging corruption, that the bungalow was reconstructed without the permission of the Delhi Urban Arts Commission and the Municipal Corporation of Delhi. The Congress, in the meanwhile, has said that the CM Palace is a clear proof of corruption of the Aam Aadmi Party. Listen in.
CAG की जो रिपोर्ट है वो 2022 तक की है, जिसमें उस रिपोर्ट में खुद CAG ने 139 क्वेश्चन लगाए हैं कि ये इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन हुई कैसे। इसकी परमिशन क्यों नहीं है? किसी भी विभाग ने, सरकारी विभाग ने इसको बनाने की परमिशन नहीं दी है, तो फिर ये इलीगल कंस्ट्रक्शन हुई कैसे?
शीश महल या मुख्यमंत्री निवास, जो भी आप इसको शब्द इस्तेमाल कर लीजिए, अपने में ये दिल्ली में जो पिछले 10 साल में हुआ भ्रष्टाचार है, उसका ये सबसे बड़ा, हो सकता है कीमत के हिसाब से सबसे बड़ा नमूना ना हो, लेकिन वो इस तरह के भ्रष्टाचार का सबसे बड़ा नमूना बन के आता है।
एक ही रट्टा दिन रात इन लोग लगाए हुए हैं। वो मुख्यमंत्री का आवास था, जो मुख्यमंत्री होगा उसमें रहेगा। और जो व्यक्ति एक दिन में 3-3 बार कपड़े बदलता है, फैशन डिजाइनर फेल है उसके आगे। नरेंद्र मोदी की पार्टी के लोग हमें सिखाएंगे कैसे रहना है, कैसे नहीं रहना है।
Moving on, a court in Bangladesh that has issued a second arrest warrant against Bangladesh's deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. The second arrest warrant against Hasina is related to cases of enforced disappearances of over 500 individuals during her 15 years tenure as Prime Minister. Earlier, an arrest was also issued against the 77-year-old leader on charges of crimes against humanity. Getting you all the details in this report.
A Bangladesh court today issued a second arrest warrant for former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina, who is in exile in India. This comes after Bangladesh's International Crimes Tribunal in October last year issued an arrest warrant against Hasina and some top Awami League leaders in connection with alleged crimes against humanity during the recent mass student movement. The 77-year-old leader, ousted in August following a student-led revolution, was already facing charges of crimes against humanity. The latest warrant pertains to enforced disappearances, with over 500 individuals reportedly abducted by security forces and held in secret facilities during her 15-year rule. Bangladesh formally requested Hasina's extradition from India on December 23rd via note for bail, but didn't receive a proper response. Over 230 people were killed in Bangladesh in the incidents of violence that erupted across the country following the fall of the Hasina government. The death toll rose to 600 since the massive protest by students against the controversial quota system in government jobs, which first started in mid-July. As Bangladesh continues to issue arrest warrants against Hasina, India has declined to comment further on the issue.
And while Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is reportedly facing mounting pressure to resign as internal party revolt and leadership challenges intensify, with his government in minority and falling short of numbers to survive another trust vote in Parliament, Trudeau faces growing dissent within the Liberal Party. Reports suggest party caucuses are pushing for his exit, signalling potential leadership changes amid the political turbulence. Listen in.
So, the names of both individuals and entities, as well as crypto wallets, have been shared by the RCMP with financial institutions, and accounts have been frozen, and more accounts will be frozen. Crowdfunding platforms and payment service providers have started the registration process with FinTrack.
I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go. Right now, Canadians are struggling with the cost of living. I hear it everywhere I go. People cannot find a home that they can afford. They can't buy their groceries. And on top of that, we have Trump threatening tariffs at 25%, which put hundreds and thousands.
We cut across to more breaking news coming in. As many as 47 security personnel were killed and more than 30 others were injured in the Baloch Liberation Army's Fidain unit. In a statement that BLA spokesperson Jian Baloch had said that the attack took place in the Behman area, which is located some 8 kilometers from Turbat city, at around 5:45 p.m. He said that the target was a convoy of 13 vehicles, including 5 buses and 7 military vehicles heading from Karachi to the Frontier Corps headquarters in Turbat. Let me cut across to Abhishek Kapoor, Senior Executive Editor, as we stay with those pictures. Abhishek, what had happened in Turbat and also take us through the details of the claims made by the Baloch Liberation Army.
Well, you see, this is part of an ongoing battle between the Baloches, the Baloch insurgents, and of course the Pakistani state. The Balochis believe that Pakistani state is a rentier state. It's a scavenging state. It's a state which is taking up the Baloch resources and siphoning them off to essentially Punjab. And it's been a long-standing insurgency. We have seen almost the last 6 months of military confrontation from both the sides. And in this latest suicide bombing in Turbat, a Pakistani convoy was targeted, and reports suggest that 47 of Pakistani soldiers have perished in this attack. This comes days after the Pakistani Taliban targeted military outpost in South Waziristan in the neighboring Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province, and there the Pakistani army lost 16 of its soldiers, following which it carried out airstrikes deep inside Afghanistan. So essentially twin insurgencies there along the western parts of Pakistan, bordering Afghanistan and Iran. Up north it is of course the Pashtun insurgency led by Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and in Balochistan there is the Baloch Liberation Army leading its war against Pakistan. So I think this is really building up, and we have not heard the last of it. In the case of Balochistan, there is a clear targeting of the China-Pakistan nexus also, because of which Chinese have slowed down all their investments in the China-Pakistan economic corridor. Remember, just 2 months back there was a similar attack right there inside Gwadar port, and then also, though of course it was repulsed by the Pakistani forces, the fact remains that it's an insurgency hit province now, and the Pakistanis are really struggling to keep the writ of the state running in the province. And in fact, like the standoff panning out between Taliban government in Kabul and Islamabad on the issue of Pakistani Taliban in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, similarly, in the case of the Baloch insurgency, we had a standoff panning out between Pakistan and Iran. In fact, an airstrike was carried out by the Pakistanis on the Iranian side of the border also. And this is a clear case of escalation now, because if Pakistani army wants to continue the facade of being the sole arbiter of who really controls the levers of power, then obviously they will have to be seen as doing something about it. So like they carried out those airstrikes strongly protested by Afghanistan, so perhaps they might retaliate in this case. Of course, these are their own people, so how they were going to retaliate with airstrikes would be interesting to see. But remember, today only India has come out with a statement saying that you cannot be targeting civilians and putting the onus on neighbors like Pakistan does every time it faces terror, which it has itself to blame for. So I think this Turbat attack is the latest in the ongoing insurgency, and between Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Balochistan, we have not heard the last of these kind of attacks on the Pakistani military, on the Pakistani state in general and Pakistani defense forces in particular.
In fact, Abhishek, the Baloch army has taken pride in this mission. They have lauded their intelligence. They've also spoken about the increasing torture against innocent Balochis and how so many have been forced to disappear. A full-fledged statement that has been released by the BLA.
Well, yes. So the disappearances is a huge issue there in Pakistan, and it is not limited to Balochistan. In fact, the Pakistani deep state is known to carry out disappearances or abductions, and then people just simply vanish for a time or forever. In the case of Balochistan, led by the Buktis and the Maris, this insurgency has seen so many of their leaders just vanish, and we have in the Maram Baloch a leader who has shaped up over the last year and a half, who has really become the face of the Baloch insurgency, because her own brother has been missing for almost 2 years now, and in fact that was the trigger for the latest round of a spike in Baloch insurgency in much of Balochistan. In fact, right up to Karachi, where if Chinese assets have been targeted, right up to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, where Chinese assets have been targeted because the China-Pakistan economic corridor is essentially seen as an exploitative mechanism by the Balochis and the Pashtuns.
Abhishek, many thanks for getting us those latest details. We'll keep coming back to you for further updates. For the moment, we have to slip into a very short commercial break. All right, not too sure if we will slip into a break right now, given the details that continue to come into on this story. In fact, we just took you through the details of the statement that have been made by the Baloch Liberation Army. While they have taken pride in this mission, they have also lauded their intelligence, saying that this attack is a clear message that the land of Balochistan will never be safe for the occupying state. I'm also being told Mr. Alok Bansal is with us on the phone line. Mr. Bansal, what do you make of this attack on the Pak army, given how they are cornered, not just by the Balochis, but also how Afghanistan has retaliated? India has also come down heavily as far as Pakistan carrying out those atrocities against Afghanistan is concerned. All right, not sure if Mr. Bansal is still with us. We have to slip into a short break. We'll be back on the other side with the latest. Also get you details of the IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district, where 9 Jawans were martyred. Maoist targeted a CRPF vehicle.
Artificial intelligence has changed the way we do things, and so much more is in the offing. The Republic Media Network is very, very proud to announce this game-changing partnership with Samsung, because with Samsung, the Galaxy AI is here. From our news anchors to our reporters to Republic Network staff, we will all be using Samsung devices. We are excited about the new Galaxy Z series and the Galaxy S series, both powered by Galaxy AI. And we will be using these phones on screen and behind the scenes daily to bring you the news first. My experience in using the Samsung devices shows that it makes us deliver the news much faster. It helps us deliver the news quicker and simpler, with more productivity, efficiency and creativity. Republic and Samsung together will unfold a new world of possibilities. It's going to be an epic adventure together. The Galaxy AI is here.
IED blast in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur district. 9 Jawans martyred as Maoists target their vehicle. CAG's findings on Kejriwal Chief Minister residence reports 96 lakhs on curtains, 67 lakhs on marble. 3 cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru and Ahmedabad. No international travel history. Tamil Nadu governor walks out of assembly, says national anthem insulted. Chief Minister Stalin hits back, says R.N. Ravi insulting people of the state. And India condemns Pakistani airstrikes in Afghanistan, says it's an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures. Viewers, 9 Jawans were killed in action after Maoists blew up their vehicles using an IED explosive in Chhattisgarh's Bijapur. According to the preliminary information, the blast occurred on the Bedre-Kutru road in Bijapur district when soldiers were returning from an operation. And there's breaking news that's coming in. Home Minister Amit Shah has now offered condolences to the Jawans who were killed in the line of duty in Bijapur. The Home Minister has said it's impossible to express this grief in words, but I assure you that the sacrifice of our soldiers will not go in vain. We will end Naxalism from the land of India by March 2026. Big statement coming in from the Home Minister. Union Home Minister Amit Shah says we're going to fight to end Naxalism from the land of India, and it will end by March 2026. This happens after the Chhattisgarh IED blast. Amit Shah assures strict action, expresses grief for the sacrifice of the soldiers. Let's also now, viewers, listen into the other reactions coming in.
2-3 दिनों से जिला बीजापुर, नारायणपुर, दंतेवाड़ा के सीमावर्ती इलाके में सुरक्षा बल द्वारा अभियान संचालित की जा रही थी। इस अभियान में टोटल अब तक 5 माओवादियों की डेड बॉडी रिकवर की गई थी। हमारे एक जवान मुठभेड़ में उनका शहादत भी हुआ। तत्पश्चात अभियान के बाद सर्चिंग को पूर्ण करके सुरक्षा बल द्वारा वापस बेस कैंप आ रहे थे। इस दौरान जिला बीजापुर की बेदरे एवं कुट्टू के बीच में अम्बेली के पास माओवादी द्वारा लाए गए एक आईडी ब्लास्ट की चपेट में आने से हमारा एक वाहन आईडी के चपेट में आ गई थी। उसमें सवार हमारा 8 डीआरजी दंतेवाड़ा के जवान का शहादत हो गई थी। उसके एक ड्राइवर का भी शहादत हो गई। कुल 9 का शहादत का भी जानकारी प्राप्त हो रहे थे। उस स्पॉट में अभी रीइंफोर्समेंट टीम और अन्य जितना भी जो इवैक्यूएशन टीम पहुँच गए थे। अभी तक जो प्राथमिक जानकारी अनुसार कुल सुरक्षा बल का 8 एवं एक ड्राइवर, कुल 9 लोग का इस घटना में शहादत हो गए थे। और विस्तृत जानकारी जैसा घटनास्थल का इंस्पेक्शन के बाद फिर और भी जैसा फील्ड से जो जानकारी है उसी के पश्चात हम बता पाएगा।
And viewers, as we're getting in that reaction, remember the IED blast was so powerful that the roof of the vehicle was blown off. Immediately an alert was sounded off, and that's why the big breaking news once again coming in. Union Home Minister Amit Shah offers condolences to Jawans who were killed in the line of duty. He makes a big statement and an assurance for Chhattisgarh and India, where he says the sacrifice of our soldiers will not go in vain. Amit Shah, Union Home Minister, asserts we are going to end Naxalism from the land of India by March 2026. Big statement from Union Home Minister. We'll also get in reactions that are coming in from the Deputy Chief Minister of Chhattisgarh and other such reactions. Listen in to some of them.
बीजापुर से ये एक नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत की जानकारी आई है। सभी नौजवानों के प्रति मैं अपनी विनम्र श्रद्धांजलि अर्पित करता हूं। ये नक्सलियों की कायराना हरकत है। जिस प्रकार से सुरक्षा बल के जवान अंदर घुसकर नक्सल मुक्त करने की दिशा में काम कर रहे हैं, ये हताशा में, निराशा में की गई कार्रवाई है। इन जवानों की शहादत जाया नहीं जाएगी और बहुत जल्दी छत्तीसगढ़ बस्तर नक्सल मुक्त हो।
ये नक्सल जब इनके खिलाफ बड़े ऑपरेशन चलते हैं, वो कायराना हरकत पे उतारू आते हैं और ब्लास्ट करके जवानों को करीब जो अभी तक की जानकारी आ रही है कि हमारे 10 जवान शहीद हुए हैं, वो निश्चित रूप से इस पूरे घटना में हम अपनी दुख व्यक्त करते हैं। उनके परिवार को इस तकलीफ को सहने की इच्छा शक्ति दे भगवान। और नक्सलवाद के खिलाफ जो गंभीर कदम सरकार उठा रही है, छत्तीसगढ़ सरकार, गृह मंत्री विजय जी और केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह जी और दोनों सरकारें, तो इस कदम को और आगे बढ़ाएंगे। इससे इस घटना का कायरतापूर्ण
taken cognizance of the situation and will share their report shortly with us. The country data for respiratory viruses available with Indian Council for Medical Research, ICMR, and the Integrated Disease Surveillance Program has also been reviewed, and no surge in any of the common respiratory viral pathogens is observed in India. Joint Monitoring Group meeting was held under the chairmanship of Director General for Health Services on 4th of January 2025 to review the situation. The health systems and surveillance networks of the country remain vigilant, ensuring the country is ready to respond promptly to any emerging health challenges. There is no reason to worry. We are closely monitoring the situation.
We're getting JP Nada speaking on the state of the HMVP viruses and not to panic, urging people not to panic. Everyone is taking care of anything. JP Nada, also the Joint Monitoring Group meet held on HMVP measures taken is giving out a briefing.
किया है कि यह वायरस कोई नया वायरस नहीं है। इसकी पहचान सबसे पहले वर्ष 2001 में हुई थी और कई वर्षों से ये विश्व भर में फैल रहा है। HMPV वायरस एक ऐसा वायरस है जो हवा के जरिए सांस लेते समय एक दूसरे में फैलता है। यह सभी आयु वर्ग के लोगों में संक्रमण का कारण भी बनता है। यह विशेष रूप से सर्दी और बसंत के मौसम के शुरुआती महीनों में अधिक देखा जाता है। चीन में जो HMPV वायरस के मामले पर हाल ही में आई रिपोर्ट्स पर स्वास्थ्य मंत्रालय ने इंडियन काउंसिल फॉर मेडिकल रिसर्च के साथ और नेशनल सेंटर फॉर डिजीज कंट्रोल के साथ और वर्ल्ड हेल्थ ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के साथ चीन सहित पड़ोसी देशों में स्थिति पर कड़ी निगरानी रखे हुए है। WHO ने भी स्थिति का संज्ञान लिया है और जल्द ही वो भी अपनी रिपोर्ट साझा करेंगे हमसे। ICMR, इंडियन काउंसिल फॉर मेडिकल रिसर्च और इंटीग्रेटेड डिजीज सर्विलेंस प्रोग्राम IDSP के साथ उपलब्ध सांस संबंधित वायरस के देशव्यापी डेटा को भी समीक्षा की जा रही है और भारत में किसी भी कॉमन रेस्पिरेटरी वायरल पैथोजन में किसी भी प्रकार की वृद्धि नहीं देखी गई है। में जॉइंट मॉनिटरिंग ग्रुप की बैठक 4 जनवरी को आयोजित की गई थी और स्थिति का जायजा लिया गया है। देश के हेल्थ सिस्टम्स और सर्विलेंस नेटवर्क्स किसी भी उभरते हुए हेल्थ चैलेंज के प्रति क्विक रिस्पांस देने के लिए सक्षम है और तैयार है। हम स्थिति का क्लोज मॉनिटरिंग कर रहे हैं, हम स्थिति का बहुत नज़दीकी से जायजा ले रहे हैं और हम ये कह सकते हैं कि हमें चिंता का कोई कारण नहीं होना चाहिए। स्वास्थ्य विभाग इन सारी बातों पर नजर रखे हुए हैं।
Health Minister briefing on the HMPV breakout, saying there's nothing to worry about. Measures are being put in place. The central government says there is no thing to worry. Viewers, also we're going to come up after a short break with more news on how India is condemning Pakistani airstrikes in Afghanistan, says it's an old practice of Pakistan to blame its neighbors for its own internal failures.
newsroom, it is not that simple to summarize a story that is breaking. With the Notices feature powered by Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6, you can make a long story short and format it into a clear, easy to review summary. Galaxy AI is here.
Viewers, as we come to the end of this news wheel, let's record and summarize with Note Assist using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin lashed out at State Governor R.N. Ravi for leaving the assembly without delivering his customary address, calling it childish. He charged the latter with continuously insulting the people of the state, responding to Ravi walking out of the house and refraining from delivering his address to the MLAs on the first day of the year's assembly session. Stalin said the governor had skipped some portions and added some in his address in the previous years. And there you have it, the precise reading of the news in a simpler format using Galaxy AI on Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6. We'll be back with the headlines in a few minutes.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
write on the rundown?
But Deepak, it's in Hindi language.
Don't worry, we'll do real-time translation with interpreter.
Amity has been ranked India's #1 private university in the recently released Education World Rankings, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked standards in education.
Virat Kohli's intensity and drive for perfection have been the defining traits of his career, and even though he's winding down his time in the sport, it still plays a key role in his demeanor. Kohli's ability to score plenty of runs at will has seen him scale heights few can scarcely believe, but his willingness to engage in verbal battles have also held him in good stead. Things were no different in the 2024-25 Border-Gavaskar trophy, even though it really took Kohli a while to get going. Indifferent form may have played a part in that too. He started the series with 100 at Perth, which led many to believe that he had rediscovered the form that had so badly deserted him in red ball cricket. But it was a false dawn. Twin failures in Adelaide and Brisbane brought more scrutiny over Kohli's meagre returns with the bat, but while he could not rediscover his form in the ground, he did rediscover the anger and intensity that many associate with him. It started in the Melbourne Test, where he decided to take on a bunch of fans who were heckling him after he was dismissed. The visuals went viral, but Kohli's aggressive showings weren't done. In that same Test match, he took on Australian debutant Sam Constas and even barged into the youngster during the game, which Constas did his best to downplay afterwards. I think the emotions got to the both of us. I didn't quite realize I was doing my glove, then a little shoulder charge, but it happens in cricket. Whatever happens on the field, stays on the field, Constas said. However, Kohli was charged with breaching level 1 of the ICC Code of Conduct and accepted the sanctions proposed by match referee Andy Pycroft at the end of that day. He was also fined 20% of his match fee, a punishment which many saw as insufficient. But it did not stop there. Kohli was once again front and centre of a feud involving Constas, this time in the Sydney Test when he had a verbal exchange with Jasprit Bumrah. Bumrah and Constas exchanged words and Bumrah followed that up by dismissing Usman Khawaja. Yet it was Kohli who celebrated the hardest in the face of the Australian opener. Kohli also found himself taking on Australian fans on the final day of the Test series. He mocked the events of the Sandpapergate scandal of 2018, referencing the incidents that shook the core of Australian cricket. As of now, there remains uncertainty over Kohli's Test career. But the Indian cricketer, renowned for his intensity, showed that when push comes to shove, he is still unafraid to fight fire with fire.
largest news headquarters. Setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Major turnaround on the cards in Maharashtra. A family reunion by the end of the month. Tonight, the big political scoop on This Is Exclusive. Hello and welcome. You watching the Monday edition of This Is Exclusive with me, Shavan Sen. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I come to you with two big stories. The biggest political scoop from the state of Maharashtra. What's really happening with the Pawar family? Tonight on This Is Exclusive, we'll tell you what's really happening within the Pawar family and what are the repercussions of it. And the other big story coming in from Canada, why it's time to say goodbye to Justin Trudeau. All this and much more in this edition of This Is Exclusive. But up first, let's take you through the headlines we are tracking at this hour. Speculation brews in Maharashtra politics. Sources say Sharad Pawar may be eyeing a return to Mahayuti. Facing massive internal dissent and low approval rating, clock ticks for Justin Trudeau. Prime Minister may resign soon. Srinagar parliamentarian joins in on protest against the Omar government. Omar says he better fight for Jammu and Kashmir statehood too. 4 cases of HMPV reported in India from Bengaluru, Ahmedabad and Kolkata. No international travel history. Balochistan group claims attack on Pakistan army in Turbat, releases videos. Is there a major turnaround on the cards in Maharashtra? A frosty relations likely to see a thaw in the coming few days. Tonight, we start with that big political scoop coming in from Maharashtra. 84-year-old Sharad Pawar, the stalwart in Maharashtra politics, perhaps faces the biggest challenge of his political career. In fact, after the massive drubbing that his party faced in the recently concluded state assembly elections, it turns out that this is becoming the biggest survival battle for Sharad Pawar. Will it now be Sharad Pawar bearing the hatchet and joining hands with his nephew, Ajit Pawar? In fact, what we are going to tell you is how it all started, and all of this is now being worked towards perhaps a reunion by the end of the month. That's how quick it could actually be. But now we're going to tell you how the stage has been set, how it all started, who was the first person to make that move, and how exactly are things really happening. On your screens right now, we'll tell you all the key characters who've essentially played a role, starting with Ajit Pawar's mother. On your screens right now, where she said, "Pray that all grievances within the family end." This was the first big statement made by anyone within the Pawar family after the elections. And then you have right now the right-hand man of Ajit Pawar and also an ally of Sharad Pawar for the longest time, Praful Patel, ended up saying that Sharad Pawar is our deity. Let's move on to the other who have essentially made these comments. Jitendra Awad is the other person who's been with Sharad Pawar for a very long time. He says it is the Pawar family matter. A cryptic response really coming in. But now we're going to tell you how things are essentially brewing, how this entire timeline of why Sharad Pawar essentially sees is back to the wall right now. And there is a strong buzz that Sharad Pawar, along with 8 parliamentarians, 14 legislators, could actually switch camp and join Ajit Pawar. So what's really stopping them? Is it because whether at all Sharad Pawar will be able to rehabilitate his daughter, Supriya Sule? But this is what the BJP had to say. BJP legislator and the state president, Chandrasekhar Bawankule, says there is absolutely no objection to Sharad Pawar and Ajit Pawar's reunion. That is what Chandrasekhar Bawankule had to say, who's again, remember, the right-hand man of Devendra Fadnavis, the Maharashtra Chief Minister, who's made this comment just about a few days ago. Now let's go to take you through the breaking news coming in. In fact, a close aide of Ajit Pawar, who spoke to Republic TV a short while back, clearly indicated that there is absolutely nothing wrong if Sharad Pawar decides to join the faction. But it seems that the work is already done. First, listen in to what Tatkade had to say a short while back, indicating when this reunion could actually take place.
In July 2024, when Ajit Dada decided to join hands with BJP and be part of NDA, it was clearly decided that we want to go with NDA for development of Maharashtra. We have joined hands with NDA, and recent results have shown that that was the correct decision. As far as there are reports that Pawar Sahab will join hands with NCP Ajit Dada, if he agrees to join hands with Ajit Dada and he agrees to the decision that the decision of we joining NDA was correct, then we will take a call on that. As far as Praful Bhai's statement is concerned, it is an emotional statement. Praful Bhai has worked very closely with Pawar Sahab for past 30-40 years, and it is but natural that he has certain opinions about Pawar Sahab, and we all have Pawar Sahab at a very high esteem. And as far as family is concerned, I guess there are multiple statements from Pawar family that they think that all families should come together. We welcome that statement. It's a family which they want to unite, and if they say something like that, it is their opinion, and if it happens, we welcome that.
Well, the big breaking news now coming in. This reversal could actually take place within a month's time. What is stopping? One, with regards to what would be the role of Supriya Sule. For a very long time, you've had Sharad Pawar's faction essentially indicating that Sharad Pawar wants Supriya Sule to basically have a position at the center. That's one key demand that has been made. In fact, you've had Praful Patel, who is with Ajit Pawar, a few months ago saying that he was almost 50% on board coming onto with Ajit Pawar, but that did not happen. But that was mainly because as to who exactly will hold the leadership of the party in the state. It turns out that matter is settled. Ajit Pawar, after the victory that he witnessed in the recently concluded elections, is now the undisputable leader of the NCP, something that perhaps even Sharad Pawar has accepted. Now, as far as Supriya Sule is concerned, it turns out that there is a possibility that she could actually be shifted to the center. There is a strong buzz that Sharad Pawar, along with 8 parliamentarians and 14 legislators, could switch sides. Now, that's the strong buzz really coming in. And none other than you have Ajit Pawar's mother making that first indication. It turns out that there have been certain meetings that have taken place in Maharashtra as well as in the national capital with regards to how exactly would that work out. There are political statements that have been made by the Mahavikas Aghadi with regards to these meetings that have actually taken place, indicating that Sharad Pawar is very much with Mahavikas Aghadi. But remember, the entire power play that we are calling it, Pawar's play that has happened many a times in the past, many say that till date, that when Ajit Pawar was sworn in as the Deputy Chief Minister, along with Devendra Fadnavis as the Chief Minister, many say that Sharad Pawar was actually well aware of what was really happening. Niranjan is joining us on this broadcast. The biggest political scoop really coming in from the state of Maharashtra. It stems, Niranjan, perhaps with that first comment that was made by Ajit Pawar's mother. And now we're being told that there were meetings that took place in Mumbai as well as in the national capital, and some developments taking place in Goa with another political party.
Shravan, from what we're picking up, first of all, it's been a developing story. I mean, you had the timeline of, ever since the results came out. I think it was a matter of time on whether, it was when Sharad Pawar would be joining Ajit Pawar, because look at the messaging that's gone on, that's taken place in the last few days. You've had open backing of Devendra Fadnavis, perhaps an indicator from the Sharad Pawar faction that they are open to joining the NDA with the BJP as the lead party, both in Maharashtra and at the centre. You've had Supriya Sule openly backing Fadnavis. Of course, a lot of people raised questions on that. Strangely, you had the Uddhav Sena mouthpiece, Samna, also praising Fadnavis for his anti-Maoist operations and the visits to Gadchiroli, etc., those regions. And it was on the same subject that Supriya Sule also spoke on record backing Devendra Fadnavis. We are hearing, Shravan, and I think you've picked up the details, that 8 of his MPs could be joining the NDA, which would strengthen the position of the NDA both in the Lok Sabha and in the Rajya Sabha. Now, apart from that, we hear that the only sticking point right now is a negotiation that is on between Sharad Pawar's party and the centre on the role that Supriya Sule, who is the daughter of Sharad Pawar, the role that she will now play at the centre is the only point that's pending, which is why it's not formal. But going by the indications, it could be this month that Sharad Pawar officially joins NDA. Now, this is what we are hearing from sources. And one more thing, Shravan. You spoke about another party having meetings in Goa. I think you can mention that party. Eknath Shinde has not been completely happy hearing that Eknath Shinde met leaders of the Uddhav Sena faction in Goa. So if Eknath Shinde met Uddhav Sena in Goa, what's cooking? I think we will wait for a few more days. Republic is on top of that story. I have to hide on that story, and we should be able to get you more details. Perhaps in the next few hours, Shravan. Back to you for now.
Well, thank you very much, Niranjan, for getting us that big political scoop. It turns out that the reunion perhaps could take place by the end of the month, if at all some assurance really comes in from the NDA with regards to the rehabilitation of Supriya Sule. Moving on, the other story that we're getting to tonight, what really happens to Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau? He's grappling with a political crisis that may ultimately lead to his resignation. Trudeau could actually resign as soon as this week. He's completely isolated within his own Liberal Party. Trudeau has been accused of making absurd allegations against India to divert attention. In fact, his only position that he has taken over the last few months is about alleged foreign interference in the elections that have taken place in the past in Canada. It turns out that he has witnessed some extremely embarrassing moments in the last few months. In fact, on 16th of December, his Deputy Prime Minister and also the Finance Minister of Canada resigned. This was on a day when the Finance Minister was supposed to tell their legislature with regards to the economic stimulus and economic status of Canada. But the resignation came in at the last time. It turns out that ahead of a big national caucus that is lined up, Justin Trudeau does not find really any support, particularly worried about 3 major caucuses. One, the Atlantic, Quebec being the other caucus, and that's where the fear really stems for Justin Trudeau. Many would say that this was actually coming in. Reason being, One, the appeasement politics of Justin Trudeau. Remember, his own ally has actually ditched him. First, take a look at this report, and then we have a big exclusive coming up.
Temples vandalized by Khalistani extremists. Nihang Sikhs seen openly carrying swords. A plummeting approval rate. And an unmanageable economic crisis. The clock is ticking for Justin Trudeau while he battles a double-edged sword. He faces growing dissent from the Conservatives.
9 years of this NDP Liberal Prime Minister's taxes, debt, inflation, and promises. Canadians are hungry. Literally, according to the Bank of Canada, the Food Banks Canada report, 50% of Canadians say they're worse off than a year ago. 25% are in food insecurity, and a quarter of young adults went to a food bank in 3 months alone this year.
While former ally NDP calls for Trudeau's resignation.
Instead of focusing on these issues, Justin Trudeau and the Liberals are focused on themselves. They're fighting themselves instead of fighting for Canadians. For that reason, today I'm calling on Justin Trudeau to resign. He has to go.
Trudeau has run out of options to fall back on. By leaning towards an anti-India narrative, Trudeau may be staring at his last few days in office.
Over the past number of weeks, Canadian security agencies have been actively pursuing credible allegations of a potential link between agents of the government of India and the killing of a Canadian citizen, Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
Amid growing concern over the rise of Khalistani extremism in Canada, is this the end of Justin Trudeau's 9-year tenure?
Well, in fact, joining us on this broadcast is Rakesh Tiwari, journalist from Canada. Mr. Tiwari, what's really happening within the Liberal Party right now? It seems that no one is willing to even become the interim leader. That's the reason why perhaps this decision of Justin Trudeau to resign is getting delayed.
Let me say this very clearly, that what is happening now, it has been going on since Chrystia Freeland, who was the Deputy Prime Minister, as well as the Finance Minister, when she resigned, when the time for the economic package, a stimulus package she's supposed to deliver on the same day. And she has given the reason for the differences and the Justin Trudeau not having trust in her. So since that time, this was brewing for long, for that. And I will mention one more thing very clearly, that this is not that nobody from the Liberal Party is going to take, are willing to take charge. Of course, there are many faces, but same Chrystia Freeland, she's leading ahead when Justin Trudeau will go out of, or when he's going to resign.
Tiwari, just one quick question before I let you go. We're given to understand that the National Caucus is expected to take place on Wednesday. Are we to expect that perhaps Justin Trudeau actually resigns before that?
Yes, it is expected. Today is Monday, and as Justin Trudeau has said that he's going to reflect, or he's going to take this time, the holidays time.
We seem to be having a problem with the audio line, but let me just tell you why exactly Justin Trudeau completely finds himself isolated. You've already had President-elect Donald Trump making the statement about 25% tariff that is going to be placed in, and calling him, Justin Trudeau, as the governor of Canada. Now, that was the latest insult perhaps Justin Trudeau faced in the last few days. In fact, he had to fly down to US in Florida for a meeting with the president-elect. And look at what's happening here on your screens right now, with Prime Minister Modi ignoring Justin Trudeau. This all began with perhaps the bizarre allegations that were leveled by Justin Trudeau, perhaps to only save his image, but that hasn't really gone down well. Second, you have women hurling abuse at Trudeau. This is a clear reflection of the fact that in several of the areas, particularly this video actually comes in from an area which actually sends in several parliamentarians for the Liberal Party. But this is the situation that Justin Trudeau faces in the very place. Let's now take you through the other big issue, the political issue that erupted in Brampton. This was after temples were being attacked and the fact that Khalistanis were given a complete freedom. You've had his ally Jagmeet, who's also